Going on, guys, Dresscast here. Today we're playing Guild Wars 2. We're going to be learning how to get the maximum candy corn during this Halloween season. So basically, I recommend doing the Mad King's Labyrinth. So if you go into your inventory, you should see a little invitation to the Mad Realm. You can just teleport here for free. Also, every single time that you open this letter, it'll automatically take you to Lion's Arch, which is going to be the cheapest way to actually fast travel around the world if you need to get back to there. But you're going to want to click on looking for group here. Come over to this tab here. You want to be in Central Chariot Squads. You want to try to find an open squad. Now, I recommend there's two different ones. One say bosses, one say without it. The ones without it seem to be a little bit faster. Once you actually join the group, all you got to do is like right click on someone and you should see an option to join the Mad Realm. And if there's a spot available, you should be able to join in. If there is a squad leader, see how this guy has like this little purple icon on the map? That's just so you can like follow the main commander around, and we're just going to get caught up with the rest of the group. Most people prefer you not to use your mounts because it does too much damage to the ads, because each different person needs to be able to hit the boss in order for them to actually get some of the trick-or-treat bags inside of the world. So a way around that is if you have a character that's really good with AoE attacks, at least you're not having to like run around with a sword and try to like hit everything. This is just like an all-around good character. So necromancers, thieves that are able to like bounce off their targets, all sorts of those characters are definitely more recommended for this, but you can do a sword if you want to. Let's see here, so let's go and get on into it. Now, we have a little bit different idea than like the rest of the people that I've noticed. So if you're a brand new player, I feel like it's more in your interest to actually open up majority of your trick-or-treat bags. Obviously, you want to save some after Halloween, so you're going to need to decide how much you actually want to save. But the reason being that we want to open them is the more candy corn we have, the more stuff you're actually able to unlock during this event. And on top of that, the trick-or-treat bags actually give you a thing called luck. There's going to be a whole lot of like the random dust and everything, which we will get into once we start opening the bags. But the higher your luck stat is on your character, the more chance you have of cool items dropping more frequently. So if you click on equipment, you can see your magic find down here, and that's basically going to be the ability to boost up the more rare items dropping on the ground for you. This is a brand new character I've been playing for about a week or so. You guys can see the first video on the channel and get like the exact time, but it's already at 120%, which is pretty good. The max is 650%, I believe. But either way, I mean, for a brand new character about week 2 week old, that's really high. So it's definitely recommended to open this stuff up while you're just doing this stuff, because I mean, it's not too bad just to run around with a group like this. Obviously, there's going to be some dead lobbies, and eventually, once your lobby dies down, you want to try to find another one. There's quite a few people who get annoyed at people who open the boss doors if the group isn't trying to do the boss doors, so you sort of want to like play it by ear and see what actually happens. So once we see like another regular door on the map, I'll be able to show you guys a little bit better. But basically, there's going to be this purple one here. That's going to be a boss door, and then there'll be green doors around here. Green doors are the ones that just have like the regular ads around, like the one we originally did when we first started the stream. And that's what people try to prefer, since it's a little bit easier to do. It's not a... Boss fights are about 5-10 minutes, where those are just like a couple minutes, and you get about the same amount of trick-or-treat bags. However, the bosses do grant you like a 15-minute buff, so it's not too bad. But normally there is one boss that runs around the map, and he's not actually spawned by a door, he just spawns naturally. People call him Steve in the game for some reason, but basically it's going to be the Labyrinth Horde. If you're in a lobby by yourself, that dude's definitely going to mess you up. He has a chainsaw that basically one-hits everybody. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, this is basically all you have to do. I mean, it's not too bad just to like follow the group here. There'll be a commander normally that like leads the area. Now there is going to be a few things that you might want to keep a lookout for. See how there's like a pumpkin in the middle there? A lot of people tend to put like guild banner buffs around in that area, or even buy like free food for the entire group. That's basically just going to be like buffs to slowly increase your character's damage abilities and everything like that. As long as you actually take both of those buffs, they normally last about half an hour or so. You're going to get a lot more experience in gold drops. Sometimes the groups don't drop them, sometimes they do. But if you get a good group, they'll normally just have everything for you. So especially as a new player, you don't necessarily need to spend any money at all to get a majority of these buffs. There'll be quite a few like food and everything dropping too. So if you wanted to pop one of the ones, like whenever you pick people up, be able to grant you abilities, It's a good idea. Now this is the labyrinth horde that I was talking to you guys about. Typically groups that I've done this with, they try to fight this guy since he sort of runs around and chases you. This is one of the bosses spawned in since someone touched the door. So let's see, are they actually going to ignore it and just go for the green one, or are we fighting it? So it looks like they're just planning on ignoring him and opening up the smaller door here. There's going to be a whole lot of bosses in this area, so this is definitely not a good idea if you have a low-level character. However, you can bring a low-level character inside this area, and that probably isn't too bad, especially if you think about how many people are actually in this area doing like all the damage and everything. Probably could level it up relatively easily. Obviously, if you have a lower level character, you're probably going to get a lot less trick-or-treat bags because you're able to do a lot less damage like all the other things around the area, and you might be dying a lot more frequently. But especially right now, because I think they have an XP booster all the way for like 2 more days, possibly 3 more days. Just for like this first week of Halloween, they had a buff going on. I think it's like an extra 100% XP. But yeah, it's definitely going to be the easiest way to get all the trick-or-treat bags. The green doors definitely are a lot faster. This little chainsaw dude, you can't actually avoid him, so sometimes you're just going to have to fight a boss regardless. One thing to keep in mind though is technically you can run away from him, it's just he eventually will track you down, so it's going to be a lot harder to avoid him. Where the other big guy, wherever he went, should be like a big tall red dude around here somewhere, but that guy, oh, there he is. So the pumpkin headed dude, he was spawned on in the boss door itself, which means he's sort of stuck inside of this area. So he can't actually leave this zone. The only one that can leave this zone is going to be the dude with the chainsaw, which is why people typically try to fight him instead of letting him survive. If you let him survive, basically, eventually he might have a chance to track you down and kill you. Now, while you're doing this, if you look over here on the right side, you can see the foes that need to be killed. Once everybody kills, you want to make sure you like search around all the bodies here and pick up all the bags and stuff, because that's going to be a lot of your trick-or-treat bags. To revive this dude real quick, let's see here, as long as everyone else is being targeted, we should be good to go. Yeah. People actually finding this dude, or are they running away? Looks like the majority of the group ran away. Let's see here. Someone take over, please. I guess that dude's going off. Now, sometimes whenever the commander leaves, it seems like the groups tend to die off, so we'll be able to see if this actually does that in this group or not. Unfortunately, a lot of people have like a whole bunch of insignias to where their characters are able to move a lot quicker, so as long as you have the Path of Fire DLC, it's not too bad to keep up with people since you can spawn in a mount once you're no longer being targeted. As you can see, we're sort of being targeted at the moment, so we can't even pull out our mount since we're considered in combat even though we're trying to avoid it. So once you run past this area, typically you'll be fine. Looks like the boss is slowly working his way back towards that area. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the more people that are next to the door, the more trick-or-treat bags you actually get. So whoever opened that door, technically they got a lot less since we weren't there. And basically the least amount of people there, the least amount of trick-or-treat bags. So you want to try to make sure you wait for everybody inside the entire group to get to the door. That'll allow the maximum profit for everybody. We obviously didn't get too many trick-or-treat bags since we showed up at the very end. But yeah, keep that in mind too. So if you're like a new player or just trying to like follow a big group like this, typically you want the commander to open the doors because they generally wait for everybody else. So don't just like run up to the door and hit it as soon as you get there, because a lot of people don't get too happy about that. One last thing to keep in mind, a lot of people don't like it when you use like mounts and things like that to actually like try to whiplash the enemies that spawn in and stuff. Just pretty much like messes up the whole flow of things, so people typically prefer you not to do that. Alright, so let's go and carve up the pumpkins, boom. And while you're running around, there will be pumpkins to carve, there'll be candy corns to harvest. If you have the ability to purchase some of the better picks, it's a little bit more loot you're able to get. So while you're running around, if you pop out your character menu, you can see down here we have a 4-column mining pick. That's going to get you more than the standard base stuff. But you do eventually have a limited use, so as soon as that ends, you're going to have to buy more. So we're almost out on ours. And like I said, since we ignore this dude, he's just literally going to be chasing us throughout this entire area. So it's kind of a weird strategy that this group's got going for itself. Hopefully we can actually get to the next door If they hit it before we do, we'll probably just back out and see if we can find a new group. So we seem to be having a little bit of issues with this one. Let's see here. That's another thing. If you don't find yourself getting too much stuff, you might want to just try to abandon it and go other places. Fortunately, if you're stuck on foot, it might take you a little bit to catch up to the doors and things like that. There we go. Now, it does typically take a couple seconds for the spawns to actually start popping up here. So if you do go to a door a little bit late, it's not normally too bad. Let's harvest all this stuff up. Now, a lot of our abilities are actually passive, so we don't have to actually do too much stuff. Let's just make sure this is live real quick. Cool. Alright, so we got all that stuff going. Nice! Yeah, so we normally don't do early morning streams, so I'm kind of curious to see how this one actually works out. We might start mixing up like a Saturday, Sunday early morning stream. We'll definitely keep the late night streams during the week though. Alright, so nothing useful in the chat, so we're good to go. Boom. Looks like no one actually took over as commander, at least they haven't like shown an icon on the map yet. So typically the commander, it's relatively easy to see. They normally have like a symbol above their head, so it's not like it's too hard to like track down who's the dude in charge here. Looks like everyone's just sort of winging it from this point on. So it's a little bit more unorganized chaos, but we should be able to get there in the end. So while we're running around, basically we're just looking for little green doors, and as long as you typically follow the group here, we'll eventually pop into one. And once we wait for everybody. See, so it looks like a lot of people are still tracking down there. Now see how there's like these little dark gray blimps on the map here? Let's see if we can zoom in. So these areas here, those are going to be your resources. So if you have like a daily objective to carve a certain amount of pumpkins or to harvest like candy corn, for example, if you run over to these little blimps here, that's how you can actually tell what they are. So if you just hover over it, it'll let you know. All you gotta do is hold F, and it's a relatively easy process. Here's one of the guild banners that we were talking about. So all you do is run up to it, click F on it. You can claim the buff, and you're good to go. We already have it, so we can't interact with it, but basically that's all you gotta do. And it's just that easy. It's nothing really too complex. Here's the door that we're looking for.
Through.
Looks like quite a few people. Yeah, we went from 20 down to 12, so quite a few people left. Now, eventually the group is going to get so small that it's just more worth it to find a bigger group than to stay in the area. Some people will actually sit there and start looking for hosts inside of this area, so you don't necessarily have to leave. You might just be able to like stall for a few minutes. See, so once we get next to the door, wait around for some people to get all caught up here before we ring the doorbell. We should be good. But yeah, definitely as like a low-level player, it's not too bad doing these haunted doors by yourself. Now, if you're in a group, obviously it's a lot easier to like stand in the back and just do like a little bit of damage. So try to do as much like AoE attacks as possible for any class that you have, and you should be in a lot better position. And it does take a couple seconds for them to actually start spawning in. So if you notice like they have little sword symbols, basically the sword symbols is how you know that this is actually part of the door that we're trying to do. As you can see, the little labyrinth horror is slowly walking its way towards us, which is why most people actually try to kill it inside of a bigger group. So let's harvest all this stuff up real quick, and we'll probably be going till about 1 o'clock today. Then we'll be stopping, and then we'll be switching to 7 Days to Die later in the evening, around 5:30, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Just so you guys are aware. So let's harvest all this stuff up, and we should be good to go. Nice.
That's how I do it.
Let's see here. Now the tag thing they're talking about there, that's just basically the commander tag, so people can find it relatively easy. Looks like there is quite a few more people joining. Yeah, we went from 12 to 16, and now we're actually fighting this main chainsaw dude. So looks like things are getting a little bit more back to normal. Let's see here. Now this dude definitely has like a whole bunch of health, and it's going to take a couple minutes, just so you're aware. It's definitely no easy feat taking this dude on. Supposedly last year they didn't even have like a hitbox area, so whenever he attacks, it's going to have like a little box down on the ground, sort of like right there. That's basically going to be where his attacks are actually landing, so you want to try to make sure you're avoiding that as best as possible, or he is probably going to one-hit you, because this dude does a ton of damage. And if you guys are curious, the Necromancer class actually is pretty good for all this stuff. We're able just to do a little bit extra damage, and we got tons of crazy life-stealing abilities and everything, so typically we're able to survive even if he does hit us quite hard, because we'll get stuck in this ghost form. So if you're a Necromancer, it's not too bad to actually like run around and pick people up, for example. We're basically just going to do this whole default attack here because it does do majority of the damage to bosses. Try to do as many like negative effects on him as possible, and he will slowly die out. Let's see here. Yeah, we're good. Nice. Looks like we're starting to get a little bit more of like a normal style group here. So this is typically how you would actually do the dungeon. Obviously, as a lower character, it's going to be a lot tougher for you to actually damage the horde, but you want to like at least try to like stand in the background and maybe just do like a little bit of damage, because you don't necessarily want to be being picked up every 2 seconds. Now, you do have the opportunity to do enough damage to like revive yourself, especially in this area. So if you do happen to down yourself, make sure you just keep on trying to like absorb the life force, because if someone runs up to you, it makes it a lot quicker to pick you up. There's also group-wide picking up, so multiple people can just like pick you up at the same time, and it's just going to increase the time. So that's why that dude got picked up basically instantly. Swap down over to here, boom, borrow some extra health, and we should be good to go. Necromancer is definitely good for this area though. Since you can sit there and just like drain the life force of everything, it's relatively easy to stay alive, especially like a gigantic group like this where multiple people are going to be targeted. It's not too bad at all. Alright, so hold on, so we'll get everything else cleared out. Normally you don't even have to track this dude because he like runs back and forth, so as long as you're just hitting a couple abilities that should like lock onto the boss, you should be good to go. Try to at least keep him inside the frame. And it's super hard to actually keep him like the main centered on your screen too, so sorry for his health not being tracked perfectly there, but you can always see on the right side of the screen here if you're having a hard time clicking on him, since there's so many people in the area. That way you can sort of have an idea on how much health the boss actually has remaining. This is why people typically try to skip the boss doors. They're not too bad to fight, especially with this many people, but it's just that they take a little bit longer, and this one for himself is a little bit more annoying since he'll actually like run back and forth throughout the corridors. However, there does get to a point in the area where basically you are going to have to wait a couple minutes for the doors to spawn back in, because it's just you've done the area so many times that it's just going to be empty. So that's definitely something else to keep in mind too. Potty, so make sure you die here and we should be good to go. Yeah, everything else is a new player. It's not too many items from the stores that I think is like too essential. If you're planning on doing more like the long haul sort of thing, I definitely think there's a candy corn node that's probably going to be one of the main things that you want to try to get. Basically, that's going to be a candy corn node in your home instance. So as long as you have 5 candy corn nodes, or 5 candy corn cobs, sorry, you're able to purchase that, and basically your home instance is going to have that node throughout the entire year. So like even if it's not this Halloween season, you'll at least be able to like slowly gather candy corn over time. That way for next year's Halloween, you'll actually have enough currency to buy all the cool stuff as soon as they release. Storage pail, that's sort of, if you're like desperate for inventory space, that's definitely something to look out for too. Now, when you're doing this, you're going to be collecting a whole lot of random gear, and obviously Storage Solutions is a lower level character since you have all the default stuff is definitely going to fill up relatively quickly. This is all just like random drops that you get from inside the trick-or-treat bags, which is kind of crazy. If you get these finishers, you can just basically pop these open immediately though, since they just go completely away inside your inventory, so it's not too big of a deal to open those up. Those are going to be mostly for like PvP taunting and things like that, but I mean, since they store away in their own thing, as long as you just like pop those immediately, it'll give you a free extra slot. It's not too bad at all. And as you do these events, you'll see like these little random chests around here, especially if you're fighting like the main bosses itself and not just doing these little green doors here. The green doors, you typically have to run over the enemies just like that. Click F, you'll get a whole bunch of coins and you'll get a couple trick-or-treat bags. This event ends, people typically just leave the door though, so expect a lot of like the things that aren't even like the main boss spawns inside of the doors just to be completely left alone. So I mean, a lot of this stuff you can just walk past, especially if you have a mount. Over to here, boom. Now, if you look all the way down here, these are like all the random buffs that we got. So it looks like we got 22 minutes more for this guild buff. So that's why we don't need to interact with the flag every single time we pass it. Let's follow this dude. So it looks like we have a brand new commander and we are back up to 26 people inside of our group. Now, it's not going to show you everybody inside this entire area. That's just for the looking for group post that we're actually in right now. So sometimes you're going to get into lobbies where, let's say the group you join is completely full, but the session you're in just happens to have like a whole bunch of people running around. You can sometimes join their groups, so you can ask them like the region chat there and possibly join in. That way you can actually see like where they're going. But you can also just like follow behind these guys. You don't actually have to be in their group, so it's not like they're going to damage you or anything if you're not inside of it.
Your mind will betray you.
So let's run across, just keep on following her. Now, typically it's a little bit easier if you're on a mount to keep up with the group, especially if you don't have those insignias. So you definitely want to try to do that. You don't want to see the cat. Now, there is a cat here. It likes candy corn. Not entirely sure what she does though. Last time I gave her 50 candy corn, she gave me cat food and just bailed on me. So I don't think you can actually like tame it for your home instance. Supposedly you can get actual like cats and everything to help you harvest things in your home instance. Wrong person there. See, so we'll follow the majority of the group here. Looks like everyone's avoiding that little door there. So if you notice that little orange circle there, that's how you know the boss is around in that area. That's the one where the person opened the door where they weren't supposed to, so that's why the boss is over in that zone.
Hurts, doesn't it?
So we'll tail whip that dude, and most people don't really care if you tail whip the enemies. It's just mostly the spawns that come outside the door. If you do that, you kill them before anyone else is able to like run there and at least do a little bit of damage. Obviously, they're not able to get any rewards, so they have a little bit of issues with that. Let's see here. Yeah, so the candy corn cat's basically going to be its own individual spawn. It'll be like a little candy corn icon on side the minimap itself, so it's not too hard to track down. Alright, so let's see. We'll just keep following this dude. Now, it seems like there's like a general path people seem to take, so even though there's doors that are open, I think you actually have to like walk around this entire area for everything to respawn. I mean, yeah, this is basically all you have to do. We're going to get a ton of sugar treat bags. It's super easy. Obviously, if you have more storage, it'll be a little bit easier to like maintain everything. But while you're opening it up, you'll get like a whole bunch of unidentified gear. You'll get a whole bunch of luck bags. So there's a lot of stuff that you can actually consume immediately. So even though it claims that you're full, technically majority of the time, you can just sit here and just keep popping random things like that. And also, if you get like completely full, the only thing you can do is try to go to the trader and click sell junk, because normally you'll get a whole bunch of like random knickknacks that you're actually able to sell to. Alright, let's wait for the door to open up, and there is a pumpkin over there that we need to carve. Now, if you guys are curious where to find like your Halloween dailies, for example, we'll show you that in a second once we clear out this area. Spawn lich form. Oh, did it not actually work? What? There we go. Spawn our lich form, do a little bit more damage. This dude's actually super powerful. It's just he doesn't last too long, so I would normally don't do it. Here, so we get as much stuff as done as possible. Now, this event's probably going to be the easiest event inside the game to level up your luck and everything else, mainly since you can just harvest a lot of the resources relatively easily. From my experience, Christmas, all the random other holidays around the world inside of this game itself don't have as much attention as Halloween do. So I feel like the Halloween's probably going to be your best bet as a new character to try to catch up with the rest of the group as quick as possible. Obviously, there's going to be some stuff that we definitely need to work on, like actually like the tailoring abilities and stuff. There's a whole bunch of guides on like Wikipedia to how to actually like maximize your stuff, get it up to like 500. A lot of people say you need roughly like 36 gold to take it from level 1 to like level 500, for example, which would be maxed out when you can craft bigger bags. We might start working on that eventually on the channel just to show you guys how to actually do that and stuff. Right now we're at about 10 gold, and honestly the gold in this area, it's not too bad at all. If you just like run around and follow the group. And you can also buy the candy corn obs itself for about 4 gold and roughly like 56 silver at the time of this video. So just keep that in mind too. So it's not too bad. I mean, like a couple laps through here, you'll be getting plenty of it. So you can probably even buy a candy corn node about once an hour on top of or candy corn cob once an hour on top of everything else that you're harvesting. So you can probably get about 2 candy corn cobs per hour, basically, inside the game, relatively based on the currency that you're finding picking up from the grounds, as long as you have plenty of the guild buffs. If you don't have the guild buffs, you're not going to get as much gold, and with the lower luck, you might get a little bit less money too, so just keep that in mind. On like a newer character, for example. And if you click H, you should be able to get over to that area, so boom, just go on equipment, and it will be found on this right side here. As you guys can see, we've already gone up to 145. So let's just keep up with her, and we should be good to go. Won't be doing mob doors in a row. Okay, so I'm assuming she wants to take a break from that. So mob doors are going to be the green ones, boss doors are going to be the purple ones, just to keep that in mind. Save the second for next lap. Okay, good to know. So we'll get that dude dead. I mean, it's a relatively simple area too. A lot of people actually tend to stay in this area and just like try to farm up as much as possible. If you're a lower level character, this is a great opportunity to get a whole bunch of experience points, especially since you can sort of like blend in with the whole group of like 50 people. And it's not like you're the main target, so you can sort of leech off everybody else. And it actually does get you quite a bit of XP. As a max level character though, it's not too essential, but you can get a little bit more gold doing it this way as a higher character, and a little bit more trick-or-treat bags, which is why we're mostly sticking to our better character. So let's see, wait for everything to spawn in. Some doors are going to spawn in gigantic candy corns, where other ones will spawn in like the veteran gargoyles and veteran mummies. Seems like the candy corn dudes have a little bit more health compared to everything else, so this door is going to be a little bit harder than the regular like spawning stuff in. And it also seems like it's actually based on whatever area that you're inside of. So this door typically does like the gigantic candy corn dudes. Let's see here. So we'll try to do as much damage as possible. We are going to be dawning here in a second, so we'll just swap to this one, borrow some health here. Necromancer is a really good class for this area though, because you can pretty much tank everything, pick people up, and while you're in this like ghost state here, you actually have lifesteal ability. So even if you go to like pick somebody up, we get higher lifesteal just by sitting in the area next to an enemy. So typically, as long as the enemies are distracted with other people, since there's so many people in the area, it's a pretty high probability we can sit here and get healed while we're healing somebody else. Which is why I normally just try to go for revives while we're doing this stuff, because it's not too bad for us. And obviously it helps out whoever's dead. Alright, so we got us another Black Lion's chest. So basically we're going to need a special key to open that one. And those keys are very rare to drop apparently, so we'll probably eventually just sell a bunch of our stuff, because I think we got like 11 chests now that we can't even open because of that. They do have a couple good items in them though, but since it's so hard to get the keys, it doesn't seem worth it. It seems like it'd be more beneficial for us just to sell them on it. Now, people were typically saying like the trick-or-treat bags that you'd get about maximum profit if you forward on to the trick-or-treat bags till about January or so, just so you guys are aware. Okay, so our gathering tools are broke, so we need to go up to the pumpkin dude and buy the merchant here in a little bit. That way we're able to get a pick to actually harvest that stuff again. I don't think we have any more inside of our inventory. We might have one in like our guild bank, but I don't think so. So we're leaving that door, just following the rest of the group. Hold on, we should be able to check our inventory. Yeah, so the copper mining pick, we actually do have a little bit. So these are going to be like your basic cheapest ones. You're going to get less resources with this, but at least you're able to actually still resource gather. So as long as you have a little bit of these guys, you literally just drag it over into your slot. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as like these blue ones here. It's going to give you a lot less resources, but you can at least still harvest the stuff while you're running around. Same with like the pumpkin carving stuff. You definitely want to make sure you have enough stuff to actually do that while you're running around here. Seems like the nodes do spawn back in, so if you leave an instance and come into like a new one, sometimes there'll be some nodes that have already been harvested, and sometimes they'll be completely fresh and you'll actually be able to harvest like a whole new set again. It's not too bad harvesting them. It definitely does go through your picks and stuff slowly over time, and if you do buy the candy corn node for your home instance, it seems like it actually puts them inside of the Hall of Monuments too, which is pretty good since they seem to spawn 2 at a time instead of just 1.
Such might.
Alright, so we're stuck walking behind everybody. We can't pull out our mounts yet. There we go. Nice. Yeah, a lot of people have the whole speed mount thing. I got into a group last night where they were actually talking about it. Or the speed insignia, sorry. So that's why if you're a little bit less decked out character, running around on a mount to like keep up with everybody else is probably going to be essential. Obviously, you're going to be kind of screwed if you're like all the way in the very back trying to like harvest the resources. So if people are getting relatively close to one, you might want to try to like branch off, grab it while people are fighting, then run back and finish fighting. Just that way you're able to keep up with the group once they leave the area. It's not too bad, and you actually do get quite a bit of resources here. Now, once we finish up with this, we'll probably be doing a little bit of like the Ice Brood Saga stuff. So the cat's inside of this area. I don't know why this dude's been searching for the cat, because it seemed kind of pointless to me. Oh. The boss is still here. I completely forgot that he was in this area. Let's see here. Now, some people will avoid the bosses if they're spawned in the area and just like focus on the doors. Looks like these guys are just going to be focusing on the doors itself. Some people, if they're spawned in, they'll just be like, oh, whatever, stupid boss. But yeah, open the door, and then they'll just sit there and harvest it anyways, and they'll complain about it in chat. Looks like this group's staying relatively focused on like the main ads around the area, so you definitely want to make sure you're doing damage to the dudes that spawn through the door, because if people sit here and bail on you while you're trying to fight the boss by yourself, it's definitely not going to work out for you in your favor. So if you at least harvest these veteran mummies, you should be good to go, because this is going to be majority of our trick-or-treat bags inside the area. And they're not too bad to kill either. So basically the foes are going to sit there and scale based on the amount of people inside the area. So if you happen to load into like a dead server and you run over to the door, there's going to be about, I think it's 6 enemies total. So it's a lot quicker if you're by yourself, but at the same time you get a lot less bags as a result. So just keep that in mind, because sometimes you can load into an instance and it'll be completely empty if you're not actually looking for a group and you're just trying to do it on your own. Sometimes you'll get lucky though, and all the groups that I'm looking for group are going to claim to be completely full, but you just managed to load into some random session and it just happens to have a group running around. Those are always nice, especially if you see like a commander that's like actively like speaking in the chat and stuff. You know, sometimes like private message them, hey, you got any space in your group? And sometimes they'll just like send you an invite to the group if it's like a private group or something. Now, if you do open a lot of like the boss doors and stuff while everyone are running around, people do tend to kick people from like the main group, so you might not want to play around and mess around too much, or you might get kicked out from the main area. Once you get kicked out, you're no longer able to track the majority of where the group's going, so it'd be kind of hard to tell. Like for right now, I'm failing on this boss here. It'd definitely be hard to keep up if you didn't know that. This dude's actually pretty cool. I guess he's one of the newer ones apparently. He has a lot of health though. Like a lot of people were complaining that this dude's got more health than most things in the game. He actually like throws a pumpkin and it gets stuck on your head, and it's actually pretty funny. Let's see here. Thankfully there was a whole bunch of people next to us, so we were able to pull out our mouth, just like catch up with the rest of the group. So now there is going to be a few like speed things around in the area, which is basically going to be like the races. Seems like people don't do the races too often. I don't know why. It's not too hard to do, but a lot of people just typically skip the races and just like run around here and do like the majority of the harvesting areas. So the races, you want to just sit here and skip. The bosses, some groups fight them, some groups don't. You just want to make sure you're looking for whichever group that you want inside of the looking for group. Seems like the groups that you skip, you'll actually be able to get a little bit more trick-or-treat bags since you don't spend as much time on the boss itself. But obviously you get a little bit less buffs too, so you'll be getting a little bit less like rewards dropping on the ground. So it's sort of a risk versus reward sort of idea for you. Alright, so this dude's going to open up the next door. Nice. Yeah, so we have typically streamed a little bit later on in the evening. Obviously this is the first time we've done like a morning stream, so you guys will have to let me know if you actually like this earlier format or not. We'll probably be trying to do the Call of Duty Easter egg at some point, either this week or next weekend. It just depends if they actually get a patch out. So basically we got to a point last night where the game was just broken. We weren't able to continue it, so stay tuned for that on the channel too. If anything, we'll probably at least attempt it again on Friday once everybody is available to play again. As a thief, if you don't dash ahead so much. So I'll just give somebody some advice. Seems like this game's actually pretty good for like the older player base. Seems to actually help out a lot of newer people. Obviously, if you're doing things like opening the doors and stuff, people are pretty quick to be angry. Sort of like that dude. He got kind of close to the door and some people were yelling. But other than that, it's a pretty nice community, and everyone typically tries to like help out newer players. So it's actually pretty easy to get help inside of this game, which is a nice thing. One thing I wish they would reintroduce is the ability to actually like change your AI to be able to like customize them and like put their own loadouts on there, that we can actually track like their health and everything. So I really hope their next expansion in February actually has that ability to get a couple of AI that actually follow you around that you can actually control a little bit better. Seems like the ones in this game, they just sort of like get dazed out and stuck in an area and you can't even keep track of their health. So I'm assuming every single time you see them dazed out, it's when they're actually technically dead. But since they don't die and don't have any health, it won't tell you that. Alright, so let's see here. So just keep on harvesting. This is going to be the majority of the group. So you can typically do this for about an hour, hour and a half or so. Then you're able just to leave because most of the time the groups typically die down around that time. Buff wise and everything, you're good for about 22 minutes. You can go up to the very top of the pumpkin, dude, and you can actually pay to have the entire region be able to have things like free food. You can buy for like merchants, things like that. It's not too expensive, but a lot of the time, a lot of these dudes have a lot more money than everybody else. So if you just sort of like blend in with the rest of the crowd, they typically spend their money, which benefits everybody. But if you, for example, need like a merchant or something inside of here, technically you can buy one up there if you get like completely full and you can't like drop something. Now there are some useless items that do drop that for some reason the sell junk doesn't actually sell it, and they don't seem to do anything with. So like the plastic spider legs, you can typically either drop those or you can just sell those manually to like the merchants itself. They don't actually stack with anything. The chattering skulls do actually stack up though. So the chattering skulls and the moldy bread, you can take them to the same merchant that you get the candy corn cobs from, and you can actually convert them into more refined resources. Oh, and the plastic fangs. But you need 1,000 of those, just like the candy corn. And they seem to be a little bit harder to come by, but if you're opening up the trick-or-treat bags, it's actually not too bad to get them. So let's see here. So let's just keep throwing on the effects on the ground. Signet of Shadows. What is that? 25% increase to movement speed now. So those are the signets I was telling you guys about. Yeah, I mean, as long as you have a mount, though, it's honestly not too bad to keep up the group, especially the Raptors. Raptors are going to be one of the faster mounts. Now, there is a roller beetle that we'll be able to eventually get here, which it might be just like slightly faster downhill. Supposedly, according to the Wikipedia, it's about the same speed on regular like flat surfaces, though. But downhill, it can go from the same speed, so about 3 times faster than a Raptor. So it'd be really interesting to like explore the open world if it was like all downward. So it'd be cool to see how fast that thing can actually go. All right, let's see. Just kill a couple of these. You'll see these events succeeded. Then you're good to go. And then you just run around, click F a whole bunch of times. You'll pick up everything inside the area, and then we should be good. Now, you will be getting like a whole bunch of junk alongside of the trick-or-treat bag, so it's definitely going to fill up your inventory. But as long as you like sell everything, it's not too bad to maintain as a lower level character. It is going to fill up your storage bags quite frequently though, so just keep that in mind. See, and they do have like this little daily labyrinth thing, which you can actually get a Mad King Raceway box and everything from too. Looks like it takes about 1:39 seconds, so if you're able to beat that, you might actually be able to get something cool. See here, so let's tail whip this dude. Boom. And after I open about 1,000 of the trick-or-treat bags, it seems like it gives you a King Thorn's weapon chest that actually spawns in like a random thing. Let's see here. Using R to auto run and spamming 1, and it also targets all. That's surprising. That's a weird way to play it. I don't know. Sometimes auto run's good, but especially like mazes and stuff, I'm really surprised people use auto run inside this area. Yeah, that's a good tip too if you guys are curious. Alright, so it looks like we run around to the corner here. Seems like you have to run around this entire map before things start like spawning in. So obviously there's some doors and everything around here. But it seems like the groups who know what they're doing, they typically run to like every single crevice like around over here, even though there's nothing in this region. So I think like the entire map has to be explored or something for like the good stuff to start spawning in. For example, Steve's going to spawn in, he'll make a little bit of a noise, and then you're going to have to fight this dude for about 5 minutes, then he'll be dead. Definitely easier in bigger groups. However, if you're in a smaller group, it can be done. I think the smallest group I did this with was like 5 people. It took quite a while, but we did actually kill him. Obviously, if you're low level character, it's definitely going to be a lot harder though. So let's see here. Spawn into Lich form, do as much damage as possible. You should see his health like slowly chunking away, especially if a whole bunch of higher level DPS people are here. So some people haven't spec'd out in this area to like attack the gigantic region where you're at, where other people do like majority of like the DPS builds, which is going to be like a single target, sort of just trying to do like maximum damage. So the people with the single DPS target damage are typically going to be able to kill the boss a little bit quicker. But majority of the people in this area try to do the AoE stuff because they can get the more trigger treat bags from like the regular green doors. So typically you'll probably see a little bit weaker people trying to actually fight the bosses, since the majority of people are spec'd out to hurt a whole bunch of things instead of just like one thing a whole bunch. Late? You're late. How you doing, Elite? How's your morning going? Alright, so let's see. So we'll pick this dude up. Boom. Yeah, I sat there and was about to start earlier, and then I was like, oh, yeah, if I stream this early, I need to actually have like a thumbnail and everything set up for my video that I'm releasing today. So I was like, hold on. I need to set all this stuff up. And then I finally was able to start this one up. A whole lot of like random things to do. I completely forgot to change the thumbnail for some reason, so I still have a Call of Duty thumbnail on this video. It's titled correctly though, so hopefully it'll too bad. Let's see here, so let's just absorb some life force. Boom. Nice. YouTube at least. Obviously Twitch, there's no thumbnail, so that's not too big of a deal there. Alright, so let's see here. Get this guy dead and we should be good to go. But yeah, let's see. Oh, you're just now leaving? Well, have fun at your party, Elite. Hopefully you get a whole bunch of cake. Let's see here. How do they turn? You said Julio bought him a toy truck. Is it a younger kid or what is he? Let's see here. So focus on this dude. Get him dead real quick, bro. Definitely takes a little bit inside these boss fights, and it's super nice having like a bigger group. So if your group only has like 10 people, you might want to search around, because if you see like a bunch of blue names, technically they're in the area and they're not part of your group, but they're still doing the same thing with you. So there's 25 of us in our group. There'll be the green names, blue names are going to be our allies. So typically you might find like 1 or 2 groups inside of like a region together like this. Now another thing to keep in mind, obviously, just because you search for something that says like no boss doors, the other group that's in the exact same region as you might be the exact opposite. They might be like, we're opening all doors. I also found typically that doors that are looking for groups that claim like the area is empty, they don't stay empty for too long, so don't sit here and try to like bank on it. It fills up relatively quickly. Yeah, these shattering skulls, if you get 1,000 of them, they actually stack together and you can make like one really big one, free up a whole bunch of inventory space. So instead of selling those, you can actually just like collect them all together. You can trade them in for some of like the basic currency inside the area here. Let's see here, so we'll do as much stuff as this is possible. Boom. Little boy, should be fun. There you go, Elite. Let's see here. Well, hope you have fun at your party. Stuff all this stuff. Nice. Yeah, there's definitely a whole lot of loot inside of this game together. Alright, so we got all that stuff done. Search around the bodies here, grab all that stuff. Did you get all your stuff sold on New World? Or have you not gotten that far yet? Because last night you said you were starting to get some of the stuff sold. So boom, go to Twitch. You said you're leaving soon, right? Trying to actually monitor the chat here because I forgot the team turned on. There we go. Nice. So we got, looks like we got another mob door, a whole bunch of gargoyles and everything spawned in here like I said. Got 2 chests around here, so typically you'll get a whole bunch of champion of the labyrinth stuff. This is just going to be the basic default stuff for running around. And the event boxes you'll get every single time you kill like a major boss, sort of like the chainsaw dude. And you can also get it for like the gigantic dude that we've been running around, Pumpkinhead. They don't typically seem to despawn inside of an area though, so if they spawn in, you're definitely going to have to deal with those in a timely manner. But good news is you get like a whole bunch of random uncommon gear. Obviously as a maxed out character, you'll be getting it for a whole bunch of like random classes, but if you get some cool like Halloween drops, technically you can throw them into your other characters. So far we've got this cool amulet that like makes this completely like blacked out and everything, and if you take it off, it actually like fills in our colors. I kind of like this like whole blacked out look though, because even though if you don't have like your armor head, it sort of gives it that black appearance and looks cool. But there's like a completely pale like bright white bow that we actually unlocked too from opening the trick or treat bags. It was pretty cool. So there are quite a few of the Halloween weapons. Then there's like a plague doctor dagger, basically, where basically it's going to be a vial of poison. We have that as a melee ability. We haven't actually put it on our character because I didn't want to like soulbound it to this dude since we don't necessarily want to use it on him. But if we start another character happens to use daggers, we'll definitely use it on them. Just trying to get like maximum damage for that. I'd imagine things like the thieves are probably going to be using daggers mostly because it looks like it's going to be the class that replaced the assassins. So it'll probably be a little bit typical faster character, a whole bunch of dash skills, all that stuff. So that's why we're saving it for that one. A lot of the stuff in this area though, if you're on a max level character, you'll getting drops from max level. So if you don't have a lot of higher level things, that's another thing to keep in mind. And you do get one free weapon that actually sits here and scales based on your character's level.
Such might!
Alright, so let's see here. We got another door ready to open. Nice. See, a whole bunch of mummies, everything else to harvest inside the area here. Boom. Should be able to take care of business. Hopefully you guys are liking this early morning thing. I'm just trying something different out, seeing if you guys prefer this or later in the evening stuff. Not exactly sure which one's actually the best time yet. This would definitely only be on the weekends though, so it wouldn't be during the week. Let's see here, so we should be able to get as much stuff done as possible here, and boom. And we'll head back here in a minute and probably do a lot of the Arene storyline, because I'm not entirely sure if we're all the way at the very end of the Ice Brood saga or if we have like a couple more strikes we need to do. That might be fun to do too inside of the stream here today. So let's try to harvest up as much stuff as possible. We definitely do like a whole lot of time inside of this area here. The majority of the stuff actually fills up pretty quick. So I mean, if we search inside our inventory, just so far we have 62 trick-or-treat bags, 4 large candy bags, which are also going to give you trick-or-treat bags. Then sometimes bosses will drop another bag called a personalized bag, and then basically you just pop it. You're not able to sell it personalized bags to other people, so those you can definitely open that no consequences. That one chest I was talking to you guys about, let's see here if I can find it. Not that one. It was a Halloween looking one. Let's see here. Oh, this one, Royal Flame Weapon Coffer. Basically, I got this one for opening up a whole bunch of bags, and it's going to be a whole bunch of random things that all do fire effects. So that's actually pretty cool. So even though you don't actually spend like your cobs, you can actually get a pretty cool Halloween looking weapon here. So waiting and deciding, I might try to do the great sword for my Necromancer, and then buy like a different thing from the store, other thing. So we might not actually need the whole 15,000 cobs that I originally thought to get something cool. Which is very nice. I didn't even know that chest existed inside the game. So we're just going to keep up the rest of the group here. We should be good to go. A whole bunch of large bones. The poorest bones don't seem to do that much. And while you're running across as a newer character, another thing that's good to know is you can click deposit all materials. And if you get a whole bunch of like extra stuff here, you can just sit here and put everything inside of like an imaginary bag. It's not going to fill up your inventory, but basically you have like a storage alternative. Instead of just like the storage bags itself, you're able to store like resources inside of like this imaginary area. Most things have a stack of up to 250. So like, for example, the candy corns, you're able to store 250 candy corns inside of this hidden bag that's not going to fill up your inventory. That way you have an extra slot. And then once you go to buy the cob, it'll actually use the 250 from that other bag and then find the rest from your inventory. So technically you might think that you only have like 500 where you actually have 750 since you have a whole nother set that you can't access just inside of that instance. see here. So we're not able to claim any of these banters. There we go. So we got that one. Boom. Nice. Got both the banners. Multiple guilds might drop like their banners around here. So as much banners and everything's on the ground, you want to just like pick that stuff up. You can eat like the food and stuff to give your character a little bit of like a damage buff if you want to. Normally it's not too needed. Let's see here. So we're just going to harvest this stuff real quick. Nice. It's not too bad to like harvest the resources and stuff too. It seems like the candy corn nodes itself you can gather relatively quickly on your own. Let's see, so just keep on leader. Yeah, this is going to be probably the easiest way to get all of the candy corn or retreat bags that you can. There are going to be some other things that you can do, like for example time trials and things like that, and then there's even like this clock tower maze. This is by far the easiest method though, so the maze is a lot harder. The PvP stuff is a little crazy too. There'll be some daily events that we need to actually do in order to do that stuff, but if you like lose and don't even get any kills at all, you still get crowned for doing it. So it's not like you actually have to do anything good in this game to successfully do it. You just need to attempt it. As long as you attempt it, the game's like, all right, cool, this dude tried, and just gives you all your stuff and you're good to go. Okay, so search all the stuff on the ground, pick up as much stuff as possible, nice, to the rest of the pack. Yeah, so hopefully you guys are liking the Far Cry series. Actually a pretty cool game so far. I really like the fact that we got a gigantic crocodile that can like run around and eat people. That's a really cool first companion mount. I think on Far Cry 5 we had like a bear or something to start the game out with. Crocodile though, he's pretty cool. He's kind of stealthy and he's kind of slow, but he's still pretty cool to actually run around and have a crocodile eat people for you. Now, just keep in mind that you want to try to follow the commander, because that's typically where a majority of the group's going to follow. So if you see like one person branching off like this way, you might not want to follow them. Just try to follow the dude that actually has a symbol above their head, because that'll be the easiest way to actually keep track of where you're supposed to be going. Because while we run around, obviously we've seen like some grain doors and stuff all around the area, but you definitely want to make sure you're sticking with the group here, because like I said earlier, if there's only you by yourself on the door, you're going to get a lot of trick-or-treat bags, which is definitely going to hurt you in the long run. So let's just do this. Boom, jump across. And if you're impatient, you don't want to wait for people to get to the door, you actually do get a lot less stuff too. So you definitely want to have everybody inside the region before you actually open that stuff. Now, if you have a mount, it's a little bit easier to get through this area, because your mount actually takes majority of the damage for you. And like this whole thing that like slows you down, you don't actually get affected on the mount. So your mount's pretty much going to act as like a gigantic shield for you if you want to like run around the area. Good news is if you get a mount on one character, it works on all your characters. So you only have to at least have one character with the ability to get mounts. You are going to need the Path of Fire DLC to actually have a mount inside the game though. So that is another thing to keep. Looks like the boss is still right next to the same door that we've been opening. Now, some groups will sit there and just like kill the boss since he's so close to the area, where other groups just ignore him and just focus on the doors. So you just sort of gonna have to play that by ear on what you actually want to do. Technically though, he's going to stay in the session until you actually kill him, so it might be easier for you just to actually fight the boss itself. Obviously, if other people inside the group don't want to do that though, it's going to be a lot harder. So just try to do what everybody else is doing, you should be good to go. So let's see here, so we get a whole bunch of cool stuff. Nice! But yeah, Halloween stuff's actually not too hard to actually harvest and everything, so let's see here. A couple more effects on the ground, we should be good to go. Dude. I don't know. I really like the way he looks and the fact that he sits there and throws a pumpkin that can like get stuck on your head. Other than that though, he definitely has a lot of hits. Seems like they have quite a few bosses inside the doors that actually do a lot of staggering damage, so basically they'll just like constantly knock you down. Especially there's like a gigantic candy corn boss itself. Like every 2 seconds he just sits here and like yanks the ground out from underneath you and you just fall on the ground. So some of them are quite annoying and you'll be on the ground more often than fighting them. It's not like they take too much damage, but sort of like that, how it just like knocks us on the ground and we recovered our health basically almost immediately since our lifesteal ability. But the fact that we just get knocked on the ground, so if you're trying to do abilities and stuff, you got like a 5-second cooldown, it definitely does make things last a lot longer. Sort of like this door here. Since we seem to be getting knocked down a lot, other people aren't able to do their abilities. Abilities means things are definitely going to stay alive a lot longer. So we got all that stuff. Everybody is leaving this boss again, so you want to follow the majority of the group here. See here, we are being targeted at the moment, and that dude had a pumpkin stuck on his head. Let's see, as long as you're staying at the last dude, it should be relatively easy for you to pull a mount out, or at least stall enough to be able to do that. There will be some groups though where if you're stuck like fighting somebody or like the enemies just seem to constantly be chasing you, everybody else is just going to go do their own thing and they'll completely leave you alone to try to handle it yourself. So in that case, it's definitely going to be a little bit harder. So some groups, if you like stop to harvest resources like that, you might turn around and by the time you finish, everybody's just like completely gone. Next up, we stop, equip, and kill. I'm assuming he's talking about killing the boss there. I'm not entirely sure. Let's see here. So we'll just keep following this dude. We should be good to go. Yeah. Basically, in an hour or so, you should be able to get quite a bit of trick-or-treat bags. And you can sell them right now. Since relatively a lot of people are doing this event, though, it's not like you're making a ton of bank right now. So technically, as a new player, you could just go, as a veteran player, you could go on the store and sell your stacks for about 4 gold and like 96 silver coin at the moment, or 56. It changes from like day to day. The more people sell stuff, the cheaper the item is going to be though, so that's why a lot of people wait till after the Halloween season's over because you'd get maximum profit. But if you need a quick change right now, now is another good time to do it too. So probably an hour, you can probably get about 16 gold doing this during the event, which is, I mean, not too bad. Gold's basically used to buy a lot of like the main currency inside the game here, so you can actually buy like gems and stuff with gold too, which is pretty cool. Alright, so let's see, just get a whole bunch of things dead like a certain race. There we go. So we got a whole bunch of events completed. Make sure we're picking around all the items on the ground and we should be good. It's already destroyed. One cool thing about this game, basically the nodes are all going to be an individual base. So for example, if somebody harvested a resource and you haven't yet, you can run up there and harvest it and it's going to look completely full and it's not going to be completely destroyed unless you actually do it yourself. Since we already harvested that node though, obviously we saw it was broken where that dude saw it as a brand new node, so he was over there and able to harvest it itself. That's one thing that this game did like really well. That way everybody inside of the entire area can actually harvest their own thing. It's not like affecting the resource flow of everybody inside the entire zone. Because I would stink to have to sit here and fight this stuff and try to like fight for the resources. That'd be horrible. Alright, so let's see here. Get off the mount, just follow the group since we seem to be keeping up with these guys. Now, some groups are going to be more like the faster paced groups. They'll typically have like express or like fast or something on there. So those are going to be the ones that have majority of like the insignias that make them much faster. Sort of like that Thacker person, we were like right next to them. They've like slowly gone ahead of us even though we've been running the exact same speed. It's just those insignias definitely do add in a whole bunch of just free movement speed. Obviously some character classes will be a little bit faster too, but a lot of the time like the express or faster groups, you're definitely going to be needing a mount to be able to keep up. And they typically tend to just try to do like these green doors instead of worrying about the box doors. But you'll probably get a little bit more trick-or-treat bags inside of a group like this as long as you keep up with the group. It's definitely going to take your attention the entire time though, because I mean if you're not right on top of these doors you can miss out on a whole lot of stuff. Let's see here. So this door you want to basically fight all these plastic spiders here. You're going to get a whole bunch of legs that don't seem to do anything at all. I haven't found like anybody who actually buys them inside of, like a main merchant thing for crafting or anything, so I think those legs are basically useless. But the chatting skulls can be combined, the nougat centers can be combined, and the plastic things can be combined. So each one of those stacks, basically you need 1,000 before you're able to pull them together inside of the merchant dude. Once you get 1,000 though, you can actually stay there and stick it inside of your resource stash again. So each of like the main harvesting items for Halloween have their own 250 stacks. Like for example, the candy corns is 250. If you get 1,000, you can combine all of your candy corn into a cob, and that cob actually goes into its own resource stash inside of your inventory too. So you're able to stash the cob inside its own thing, and you have another 250 slots for the cobs. So technically you could hold a lot more resources if you actually combine them into the 1,000 item and then just stash them inside your inventory. Now it's a lot less frequent, but the bigger like 1,000 items, technically you can trade those in for like random things from merchants. Seems like there's a little bit more for like the plastic pangs and stuff. Basically, if you like combine them together, you're able to make a refined fang, which you can trade to some of those dudes to get like some cool weapon skills and things like that. Now there is a couple things that you can actually buy with the cobs that are pretty cool. Some are just going to be a little bit more of like gimmicky kind of stuff. Some of them are going to be more like around just trying to keep the Halloween event stuff alive for you whenever you wanted to. So you're able to get a whole bunch of these tonics drop on the ground. So for one candy corn cob, you can actually turn your tonic into an everlasting tonic, which basically means throughout the entire year, you're able to use it whenever you want to. Tonics just sit there and change your character to look like some random thing. So it's not like it actually helps you in the game any at all, but it's just appearance wise. So let's see here. So let's do this. Boom. So weapons is probably going to be the thing that you mostly want to try to focus on, because a lot of the times these weapons are going to be a limited time thing, so you're not actually able to get them outside of this event. Same with like any resources, like build a lunatic gear, for example. You can get the gear to drop inside while you're like running around, and as soon as you actually throw the skin on, you're able to actually make any cosmetic item look like that. So it's not like you necessarily need the recipes, but it's a lot easier to actually just learn the recipe. That way you can have it in the future for all your classes. If you like that armor set, for example. Alright, so let's just keep following around. Now you can have like a super rare chance of getting some cool stuff. Saw one dude open like 50,000 different bags of trick-or-treat stuff and he still didn't get it, but there actually is like some cool effects that like turn your whole character red and everything, and have like smoke effects and things like that. Seems like that's going to be a little bit harder. So this dude is going to be charging everybody. Stand in the back, try to focus on this stuff. So basically anything that you get inside of the game, you want to open up this little tab here, go into your inventory, and you should be able to look and buy more of the trading post. It's going to automatically pop up the Black Lion Trading Post company for you, and it's going to search for that exact same item and for what other people are selling and buying it for. So obviously this is not worth very much, but if you get like some of the minis or something that you think might be valuable, you might want to check inside of there just in case, because you definitely, if you're like holding on to like a $12,000 item or something, you might want to actually sell that instead of keeping it, or you might want to keep it because it's rare. Either way it works. Let's see, so we're already at 250 candy corn there. So we got one stack already completely full, and we're working on our second stack, and we haven't even opened up a single bag yet, and we came inside of here basically empty. Let's see, so we'll try to kill this dude. Boom. We might have had like maybe 20 by the time we actually started the stream, but I completely cleared out all my candy corn and everything before I actually entered inside of here. Now, on top of that, since we clicked deposit resources, we should have another 250 candy corn already stashed inside of our inventory itself. So we're at about 500 something right now. This dude real quick, and there are going to be some food items that you can actually do to boost your stuff up. So if you actually look at like some of the things here, a lot of them are going to be, if you pick up like the person next to you, you're going to be able to get like a raven buff and things like that. Let's see here if I can actually find one of them. So let's see, that's just for us. They're actually at. Probably ate all of them. I don't think so though.
Barely.
Oh, there we go. The pumpkin oil. There's a good example. So for 30 minutes, reviving ally grants pumpkin prowess to both you and your revived ally. Basically get 10 experience from kills and plus 30% magic finds. It's a whole bunch of like really easy stuff that you can sit here and eat. Those are going to last as long as you have them inside of your inventory, so basically they're not going to spoil or anything. So at the end of the event, if you want to hoard on to this stuff, feel free to. Obviously, you're not going to get too much of bonuses and stuff once Halloween creatures end, because you won't be able to get your experience boost up, but you might have some pretty cool like revive things if you're ever in like a squad or something where people keep dying. You might want to pop that inside of an event to try to do a little bit extra damage to the area. So we'll get you, boom, and pick this guy up, sort of like the strikes and things like that. Seems to be doing relatively good. Let's see here, so we'll get this dude. And we are eventually going to get this guy skill stuff rolling too. It's just that that's sort of been put on the back burner while we're working on all this other stuff, since the event is temporary. Let's see. Oh, the wrong button there. Bam. Now this is going to last till November, so you want to try to get as much stuff as you can. I'd recommend at least being able to have a candy corn node inside of your base. That way you can, just like slowly over time build up your candy corn stuff. And if you're not too interested in the event, maybe only do it for about an hour and get enough trick-or-treat bags to just like stash away. That way in a couple months be able to sell that stuff and actually have like a decent amount of gold to do some stuff with your characters. So that's probably going to be the easiest way to gain like early game money without too much effort. Or obviously you can spend a lot more time inside of this area and like just like constantly harvest it for this entire month. You'll be 100% decked out. You'll be able to have all of your bags being at 20 slots. Obviously there's some people that have everything like 32 or so, which is obviously a lot higher, but you're going to need a very high crafting skill, so that's going to take about 36 gold. So if you're completely broke, you're definitely going to have to do this to get gold, which I mean, you could sit here and just do this for a couple hours too and be able to get enough gold to max that ability out too, which might be worth it. Obviously if you sell everything though, you're not going to be able to get your luck up. I feel like the higher luck on top of everything else is probably worth it more than just trading in for gold. That way you have like a better character for the long. I do notice sometimes it'll say like event completed even though everything's still fighting, so I'm not entirely sure what all that's about. A lot of times in this game though, if like someone does a race or somebody or something, for some reason you still get credit since you're inside the area. Or if like other people are fighting a boss inside of like the main region and you just happen to be walking by at the same time they're fighting them, you'll still get credit for fighting the boss just since you're in the region. So you don't technically need to be hitting things unless it's the green door. If it's the green door, you actually have to hit the enemy yourself or else you won't get any of the items dropped on the ground. It's kind of odd. But as long as you have an AoE character, it's actually not too bad. Do a little bit of damage to each thing here, and basically they all should drop an item for you. See, swap to this, boom, drain everybody's health. Should be good to go. Let's see here. Dead, please. So let's do this. We're skipping the mob door in the top east. So it looks like there actually is some strategy here, so make sure you guys have your region chat turned on. Now there are some tabs that you can actually turn off so you're not getting like completely spammed. So if you turn off NBC, combat, all that fun stuff, basically instead of like every single second we pick up a bag, it's not going to fill up our chat there. So if you are trying to like keep up with the group and actually know what's going on, it might be worth it to have those settings turned off while you're doing this event, because you do get spammed with like a whole bunch of items dropped on the event. Alright, so let's see here. So boom. Try to absorb as much stuff as possible. Obviously, some people spreading out like the skeletons and stuff. If everybody's like right on top of the door, they typically all stay in like the relatively same area, so it's a little bit easier to kill. Once they're spread out like this, the AoE attacks no longer actually do as much effectiveness as possible, so you want to try to stick to the majority of the group areas. Let's see here. You are going to have to like track down. Looks like someone else spawned in a box. I say you are going to have to try to track down as much like the skeleton as possible. Looks like everybody is just going to run back. Yeah, so some characters have like knockback ability. If you're a low level character and that's all the skills that you have though, you're just going to have to deal with it. So sometimes, you know, it is what it is. Obviously some people expect people to knock back all the time, but I think there's a couple classes that pretty much start out mostly low game with, because people were actually talking about that too last night. Alright, so hold on. So we can't use our mount just quite yet, but we should be able to catch up in a second. Seems like there's only one other person behind us. Down again. So basically, if an enemy just sits there and constantly targets you, you're not able to spawn in your mount. They had already opened up the door, so we missed a little bit inside of this area. Boom. And it seems like people do typically get kind of annoyed at things like that, and they will start leaving the area relatively quickly too, inside of this area specifically too. Seems like a lot of people who are trying to like resource gather try to do it as quick as possible, and if you slow them down any, they'll just find a new group.
I'm neither here nor there.
Yeah, like how I just told you, even that dude said the same thing. It's mostly just people trying to level up. So we do have like a couple scare abilities, but we don't actually have this equipped. Seems like that dude seems a little angry for no reason though, but yeah, should be able to get everything done. Let's see here. So just stick with the group, get a whole bunch of bags. Now there's going to be large candy bags and there's going to be trick-or-treat bags. The large candy bag, basically you have a chance of getting candy corn and a trick-or-treat bag. So it's going to be like a 2-in-1 sort of thing. But I definitely do think it's probably worth it to go ahead and open up all this stuff, at least till we get closer to like the end of it, and then I'd probably say horde up. So probably keep opening them until about the 15th, maybe 20th, especially if you're able to play a couple hours each day and do this sort of event. If not, then I'd say just, you know, horde up at least like 5 stacks or something. Maybe stick them like an alternate character, that way you don't actually fill up your inventory. And one day you're gonna just like log into your extra character there, boom, he'll be your storage bag basically, then you can sell them. That way as a lower level character, you're actually able to, you know, have that stuff sort of stashed away, that way it's not like completely blocking your main inventory. And you should be able to make a decent profit for any character you want. We're actually finding the boss now, nice, there we go. Seems like people got annoyed at this dude. Let's see here, let's go kill the boss by the mob door. So I'm gonna do, yes. Nice. All right, we're good. Now, if you guys are curious, there is like multiple different weapons you can get. We got an axe right now, just mainly because that's the only thing I can find. We are going to eventually swap to the great sword though. I just need to do a little bit more hero points before I'm able to equip the main sword that I want to for the build that I'm trying to build. Seriously, look at this dude dead and we should be good to go. Yeah, to put your specialist on, you need like 30 hero points. I think I'm at about 20 right now. So you can find hero points around the world, or you should get 1 point every single time you reach level 80. Sort of like their prestige system, basically. I'm kind of curious to see if like the next DLC, if they're going to raise the level 80 requirement to be higher, or if it's going to stay at level 80. Is that something I'm not entirely sure. So, one other things to keep in mind though, so there's 2 different candy corn nodes that you can get from the main Halloween event. So there's going to be the cheap one at 5 cobs. The next one's actually going to be at 5 cobs again, but you have to have the first one before you're able to do it. So you can get the greater gift, which basically is going to give you 6 to 12 versus 3 to 6. So if you think it's worth it to have a more upgraded node inside of your home base, you might want to try to harvest up enough candy corn cobs to be able to do that. Basically, the point of trying to have that though is just going to be a little bit of longevity. People say if you actually upgrade the candy corn node itself though to like the max, so that'll be 10 cobs total, it'll take you about 565 days for it to pay for itself. So after a couple years, technically you'd be getting more than you actually spent in the beginning. Obviously, you know, this is going to require you to be grinding and everything a little bit more frequently inside of this 1 month. But I mean, it's not too bad, honestly. Especially, I mean, we haven't really died. We're just sort of hanging out, chilling, running around, following people. It's not too bad. Why is everyone just spamming random buttons now? Obviously, there's a whole bunch of like random people inside this game, so sometimes the chat just goes off in like very random, weird ways. Serious, so I'm pretty good though. This dude definitely has like a whole lot of health, and if you look up here, you can see sometimes their effects and stuff. So we did actually learn sometimes bosses are going to have negative effects, which basically if you do like a ranged attack, you're not going to be able to do any damage at all to them, and they'll just deflect it back. These guys thankfully don't have anything crazy like that, but if you're fighting like ads around the world, just like a little bit of a bonus tip, You might want to make sure that they don't have anything crazy if it seems to be taking forever for you to kill something. Some bosses just have a ton of health though and are designed for this kind of thing, especially things that say like group event. It's going to take a while. Let's do this. Boom. Yeah. So like how we talked about earlier, a lot of people seem to not like this one because he does have a little bit more health than like the typical bosses. I'd say this one isn't like the strongest. So obviously the skeleton dude with the chainsaw is the strongest, but he's also the most annoying since he can like track you down. So that's why most people just are like, whatever, we'll kill this one. A lot of people try to avoid the doors. This one seems to have a little bit more health than the gigantic candy corn dude though, but the candy corn dude, in my opinion, is more annoying because he can sit there and like sit on the ground every 2 seconds. This dude, as long as you actually like back away from the pumpkins, it's not like you're going to get knocked down too frequently, but you have to be a lot more on top of it. Let's see here. So we already got him down to the D, so this dude should be dying relatively quickly. Nice.
You're seeing things.
So this is why people tend to try to like skip the bosses inside of these areas. They just typically last way too long. So I mean, it's sort of like a give and play. Obviously once you kill him, you'll get a 15-minute bonus. So technically if you just sit here and deal with this boss every couple, so like if you run around here, I'm sure it lasts probably about 3 laps total, especially if you're in like a fast group like this one. If you're in a slower group where it's taking longer to kill the ads, obviously you'd sort of have to scale it down. I feel like as long as you do like one boss door, someone actually open up that one too. So this is one door that people tend to get a little bit annoyed. Basically, if you open up a whole bunch of like random doors while everything else is going on, the entire area is going to get all crazy. Let's see here. So we're going to, let's just say here, have a whole bunch of things. So yeah. Accidents happen, but some people get extremely angry about that. Alright, so we're just going to keep on spamming the area. We should be good to go. Let's see here. Now, as soon as the green door opens, I recommend instead of fighting the boss, just to focus on like the dudes coming out the door. Mainly based on the fact that if these guys die, they're going to drop items for you, and you have to actually do damage to them. So it's pretty much essential for you to actually sit here and try to harvest up these green doors first. If both of them are open at the exact same time. If the boss was still by himself, then obviously we'd be focusing on him. And plus, these doors are going to go by a lot quicker too, so see how like the foes remaining is just like slowly chunking down. Basically every couple seconds, skeletons are going to be spawning through the door, so you might run into a thing where they're going to be invincible. If you just give it a couple seconds though, you should be able to damage them. See here. A little sniffle, sorry. Alright, we're good to go. Nice. Got all that stuff done. Obviously this boss is taking quite a while because I mean a door even spawned in while we were fighting him. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people are sitting here just saying, that's what we were basically sort of going over earlier. A lot of people tend to get a little bit angrier. Once people get angry, they typically start to leave, so it's a pretty good way to have like a decent session that's just all about harvesting, just to completely abandon you and have the whole area empty. I know some people just leave sessions almost immediately whenever people do that, and then they'll just start a whole new group. So you can come into like a 28-person group, and then once things like this start happening, it'll just be like 6-person, then you'll just have to find a whole new session. And a lot of the time, whenever you're trying to join people looking for a group area, it's going to be a complete full group, and it'll just say you can't join here. So it is going to take multiple different like random groups and a whole bunch of luck to actually load into the area. Alright, so we'll search all that, let's grab some stuff. Here in about an hour, we are going to go back into the Ice Brood Saga. I'm not sure if there's just going to be a cutscene and then that's the end of it, or if we have another strike. We've done about, I think it was 3 strikes so far. So we might be getting close to that. Basically, we're just trying to unlock that area though. That way we can actually get the sky scales a little bit cheaper. Because you're able to unlock currency in that side of the world basically for any other DLC at the moment, which is pretty cool. So let's see here, get this dude dead. Why don't you just go? We should be able to kill him. Obviously, this dude's taking a little bit longer. Some people avoid him. It's not too bad fighting him though, honestly. Especially in bigger groups. Littler groups might be a different story. And make sure if you do kill him to run around chest and stuff. Now then, we are going to be able to get a buff. You should see down here, Proof of the Mad King. There you go, 20 minutes. Does stack, so since we killed Steve stuff, we're able to big gigantic skeleton do with the chainsaw. It is going to be 1 buff. That is going to be our 2nd buff. So we're able just to hop across like so. So there's going to be another mob door, and it seems like our main commander is all the way. So they might be a-okay now. We're just going to follow the majority of the group though and do whatever they're doing. I don't think that dude's there though, so he might not even open the door, but we'll see. Hopefully he's still at least playing and finishes his route until he sells stuff. Let's see here. So she opened the door. There's still a lot of people not here though, so yeah, that was a little early. Alright, so we're going to do as much damage to these veteran soldiers as possible. Here, people are just complaining about the speed and stuff. Seems like this event definitely has like a whole bunch of people that aren't too happy about like random things around the world, so there is some stuff that people aren't going to be happy with. If you're a newer or lower level character, I highly recommend being able to use a mount to try to keep up with the main group though, because you will get left in the dust and not loot. Alright, so there we go. Boom. We got a couple stuff around here. See, so we're going to open up our box here. So we got to say another large candy box, nice, and another door. So I already opened it. So let's see here. What are we going to get? So it's just going to be a whole bunch of mummies. These guys actually aren't too bad. This is probably the easiest spawn that you can actually get from the doors. Let's see here. Every single one that dies, though, you want to make sure you actually are harvesting all resources. Once again, they're all sort of split up. Is that dude really? About people leveling up. This is a very unusual, but oh well. So we're just going to sit here, do this, pick some people up. Seems like some people have a little bit of issues dying. Obviously, like lower level characters are going to be a little bit harder to maintain their life. I say it's not too bad picking people up, especially if they're at least attempting to like save themselves and pick themselves up. Because as long as you're sitting there actually like trying to fight for your own life, you're able to stall enough time to where someone's only able to pick you up for a couple seconds versus a couple minutes once you're like fully dead. Alright, so let's do this. Boom. We get a whole bunch of like random bones and stuff, and as you can see, there's a whole lot of copper and stuff to be found in this area too. So let's see here. So boom. Let's see here. So we'll do as much damage as possible. Obviously, the higher level character you have, the more trick-or-treat bags you have, but this is also another really good area to like level up in. See some people saying the exact opposite in chat, but if you're using this to level up, it's actually not too bad, especially if you're just doing like these random like little doors here. So if you're in like a fast group that's just doing the little doors, honestly, it's not too bad to fight these things. Let's see here. So it looks like everyone's leaving this one little skeleton by himself. Grab as much of the stuff as possible. There might be a chest there. Grab all that stuff you want. And I mean, honestly, it's like 2 hops of the raptor to catch up to everybody else anyways. So it's not too hard to keep up with the group if you do decide to make sure you have everything on the ground. I mean, obviously the raptor, regardless of whatever insignias you have, is going to be faster than the person. The only downside is you actually have to not be in combat. So if you're in combat, that's going to give you a lot more trouble. Let's see here. So we got another door down that way. You can high five across platforms. What are you doing today, Blue Opal? So let's see here. Just keep on following the group here. Alright, so what do we have around here? So looks like a whole bunch of random emptiness. I think she said something about she was going to, yeah, we're going to go eat lunch. I'm curious to see if like this group still stays in this area or what they're actually planning on doing is. Oh, what's up, Grim? How you doing today? Alright, so let's see. We got us another Labyrinth Horse. That is going to be a little bit of a thing, so a lot of people tend to fight these guys. It looks like they're going to try to avoid him. He is going to track us down eventually, though, especially a group this size. Let's see how this dude waits for the rest of the people. So there's only 2 of us. Alright, so the door's opened. Let's see, what did we actually get? A whole bunch of the candy corn dudes. These guys honestly aren't too bad to fight. Let's see, so if we harvest up enough of them, we should be good to go. Let's see here. Dropping in as much effects as possible. Swap into the Lich mode. Blue on Trovo 2 and Blue Opal plays on Twitch. Oh. You know. Oh, so you were watching on multiple platforms. That's cool. Let's see here. Thanks so much for all the support. Alright, so we need to figure out a way to actually kill this dude. Do this. Boom. What kind of games do you typically play? See if we can actually kill these guys. Should be good to go. Just all the resources. And how's our storage solution? So we're at 105 sugar tree bags. We got 8 shards, candy bags, a bunch of candy corn. So that's 250, and that's at 13. So we're doing decent. Obviously, once we start opening some stuff, it'll be easier. I'm trying to like keep a lot of the Halloween stuff in like the same-ish spots in my inventory. That way, it's a little bit easier to find. See, there's a whole lot of foes and they're dying a lot slower in this area. Now, whenever people swap to their DPS builds, some people actually have it so they actually have to like convert some stuff over. Obviously, we sort of go with just like a generic like world versus world, just sort of try to do a little bit of everything to survive sort of thing. I think this ghost effect actually adds like a whole bunch of DPS to our character though, so it sort of works out. We got like our own DPS and AoE class sort of combined into one sort of deal. So Labyrinth Horde did eventually walk over to us, so that's definitely going to be a thing. So we got playing on Trovo, mostly Pokemon Unite, just trying to get to level 2 is the goal this month. So most popular games are on top of the list. Well, that's cool. Though I traditionally play retro. Do you play Pokemon Unite on your mobile phone or do you play it on like a Switch or something? I did check it out. It was kind of cool. Here's a boom. I thought it was kind of interesting that they combined like a somewhat of like a basketball game to an actual Pokemon game. I wasn't expecting that. Gotcha. Does it handle better on the Switch versus mobile? Was there anything different on it? So I did see that it was cross-platform. Not Switch though, so I have only actually played the mobile version, but it was pretty fun. It seemed like it's kind of hard to like get random decent Pokemon. I have like a Charizard, Pikachu, and just like a couple like very basic ones. I'm pretty low level. So let's see here. So we're slowly picking this dude up. We should be good to go. On this dude's health while we revive. I like the Switch, by the way. Is it worth investing in, or what do you think? Let's see here. Because I don't actually know anyone who actually like walks around and takes it with them anywhere. A lot of people just use it as like their own consoles. So that dude's up, so we're good to go. Nice. And the Labyrinth Horde basically just like follows you around inside the area, so that is another reason why people typically tend to try to kill this dude, because he's definitely going to be sticking around for you and just chase you the entire time. I haven't really gotten to MOBAs, but Pokemon Unite has changed my mind a lot different on Switch than mobile. A lot better. Honestly, wait for the Steam Deck. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was looking at the Switch like a long time ago. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to actually, you know, do mobile stuff, but at the same time, it seems like a lot of those systems are kind of gimmicky. Sort of like the PlayStation Portable or whatever it's called. It's cool for like the first couple years it came out, and then it just seemed like it completely died off. Nothing was actually developed for it. I don't know, it just seems like the smaller form like devices like that just typically get like left in the dust technology wise, and it's only a couple years for them to just be, there's no new games. Or a few proprietary smaller ones, I should say. Yeah, the PSP Vita. I don't know anybody at all who still uses it besides like maybe like Netflix or something on an airplane. Alright, so let's do this. Boom. was real popular when it first came out, though. I know a lot of people who actually did use it, but after like the first couple years, I don't know anyone who actually still holds one. Let's see here. Probably because of the fact that the games, like, they just sort of quit supporting on that. Switch is a beast along with the DS, 3DS lineup. Nintendo have nailed mobile gaming. I think that's what their plan was. I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to try to like branch into actually trying to like proper like home console sort of territory and like try to take on Sony and Microsoft, or if they're just going to stick to the mobile gaming aspect. So I'm wondering if there's going to be a point where mobile phones are able to outtake just like those consoles like that, especially if they like find a way to have it so like a cell phone can just like dock to any TV or something. It would basically make the Switch completely pointless if they could develop the games to run as good. I guess you'd be stuck relying on like cell phone technology, and depending on if you have like a good phone with good graphics and stuff. But like most like high-end phones, if you could actually like figure out a way to like dock it properly and it wasn't like completely filled with microtransactions, that you might be able to get away with having it on a platform. Nintendo phone. Is that an actual thing? I wouldn't be surprised if they do start doing that though. They can sit there and just sort of like the iPhone, just have a just slap an N in front of it, sort of like the N64. They could literally just start doing their own number system again. That'd be kind of cool, actually. So here's a boom. There's this dude. Obviously, the boss in this game do take quite a while. Watch, they're sitting there, and the next thing you know, they're going to have a Nintendo phone. Let's see, so get this dude dead. Which, I mean, technically they have been focusing mostly on mobile, sort of like you're saying. So I honestly would not be too surprised. Or if they just buy like a Berry or something, I'm assuming they're still having issues. I think BlackBerry's had like a good phone in a few years. So if they like blot out BlackBerry and have like their own proprietary Nintendo BlackBerry, I could see that being a thing. I don't think they'd be able to do like Apple or Android, but like smaller thing like BlackBerry, I could definitely see that being a thing that they could try to harvest a few of the less fortunate business models. Alright, so this dude's avoiding the door. Looks like is the majority of the group. Yeah, we're good. Obviously, sometimes the commander's going to run past, and there's going to be people who will sort of disobey the commander and will open the door behind them. So you might want to, you know, just like keep an eye out. Looks like we passed two of the doors, so I'm assuming her inventory's full. Went to another existence, skip mid, and come back. Yep, so the plan is basically just to come back. Some groups do this a little bit more tactically than others. Some groups just literally just see a door. Automatically go to open it. You just want to mostly like stick to the main group and see what actually happens. Alright, so let's see here. This dude's going to run him back and forth. So how are you doing on Trovo? You said you're trying to get to like level 2 on it? Is that where you had the best luck, or where do you typically stream on? Let's see, harvest all that stuff. Nice. So we have, so we got to say haunted door that popped up. Not sure why you would want to actually wait for this stuff unless it has like a higher chance of spawning in all the doors that you want. Maybe once like the whole area has all the doors spawned in, you might have less chance with like the bosses or something. I'm not entirely sure why they did that way, honestly. We're stuck in a combat situation, unfortunately, so that's why we're like slowly limping away. Let's see here. Looks like someone activated a speed boost for us. Nice. Obviously, some classes are going to be designed better to like buff up the rest of the group. As long as you can get to the door relatively quickly, you shouldn't be left behind too often, especially if you have like a good squad leader. They'll typically wait for the majority of the group to get here before they actually open the door. Alright, so this one should be the veteran ones, if I remember. Or the candy corns. I was wrong. So these guys aren't too bad to kill, honestly. They do have like a little bit of extra health compared to like the regular stuff, but seem to be that much stronger. I think these guys are going to give us a little bit more candy corn too, which is good. The whole reason why we're doing the majority of this stuff. Alright, so let's see here. Do as much damage to these guys as possible. We should be good to go. Now, we do have a few fear abilities and stuff, but we're trying not to do those. That way they don't actually run in the area. So as long as the ads are staying for the most part inside like the circle area here, we should be able to profit off of it as best as possible. let's see here. So get this deer dead. Nice. Go. It's another treasure chest. We got us a large candy bag. Sort of random which events actually get you like good stuff and not. The large candy bags actually seems to be a decent reward though. You get them quite frequently though. And you can actually sell like the candy bags themselves too if you wanted to. Or you can hoard onto them and open them up all at once. We're probably going to be opening up a whole bunch of the stuff here off stream since obviously the storage solutions are a little short. But basically there's going to be a whole bunch of like dust powder stuff. So we might open up a couple just to show you guys like what to actually do if your inventory does get full. So a lot of the time you can actually make your inventory open by just actually using a lot of the effects. Here, so we'll open that up. Bam! Like the luck, there's no need to hoard onto luck. Basically, it's going to last the entire life of your character. So you want to just max out your guy as best as possible. Especially on like a higher level dude, doing like some of these higher end game dungeons. Higher luck's obviously going to give you a higher chance of getting the more rare items. Which as a result should get you more gold, which then you can sell inside of the markets and help out a lot of your lower level characters. So we've got a few more foes. Obviously this sort of got spread out a little bit more hectic. There we go. Once the door gets defeated, a majority like the main things around here obviously disappear too. Here, so we're just going to slowly get around over this way. If we're inside the lich form, for some reason we're so much slower, so that's why we typically try to exit that as soon as possible. All the rest of the group, boom. So like how we discussed earlier though, people don't like it if you like tail whip the area for some reason, so if you're on a mount, make sure you're just like following the brush. Literally as soon as we got here, all the griffins like ran around to the corner. That's the one thing the dude was complaining about in chat. That's pretty funny. Alright, doing pretty good so far. Yeah, he's still complaining about it. Thought he was going to say something as soon as that happened too. That's alright, well we're good. Let's see here. So we should be able to do this, get a whole bunch of stuff, and basically just follow the group. Let's see. Stuff, do as much damage as possible. So event succeeded. Search around a few more things, pick everything up on the ground. And rest. We're probably going to do one more of these grain doors, and then we're going to focus on like the main Arwing storyline here, because this should be a majority like the Halloween stuff. So this last door, we're just going to head up to the Pumpkinhead dude, and we're going to do the freeway to get back up top. But I can show you guys how to actually do it like the cheapest way. It's not going to take you all the way to like the end game areas, but you can at least get between the Mad King World and Lion's Arch 100% for free, even if you don't like fight at all in this area, just by using that one little letter that I showed you guys earlier. So I do recommend holding on to it. It's not going to save you like too much coin, but it'll save you a little bit. And let's see, doing this gold and things like that, it's probably going to be the main thing on your part. So let's do this. Boom. Nice. Let's get all that fun stuff. One more guy around the corner here. Boom. Event succeeded. Now we're going to leave the group too. Seriously, let's run around here. Boom. That should be everything, right? Yep. Nice. Alright, so let's run up the top of the hill real quick. And plus, our inventory is going to be kind of full anyways. Let's see here. So we get all the way up here. You can basically activate the letter wherever you want, but up here is less chance of pumping into a random enemy, so you should be good to go. There is one more hidden thing that we did find out. So if you like hop over this little ledge here, there's going to be a book. It's actually kind of rare. Let's see, someone actually finding us. Hold on. Kill a skeleton real quick and then we'll read the book. Just jumping around randomly, and for some reason there's just like a random book found underneath the stairs here. So I'm assuming it's going to be one of those like hidden collectible kind of things, so we aren't going to read that here in a minute. Skeleton real quick. That mode's definitely our strongest form though. Chapter 13. You're sweet on him, Priscilla. Barella. Thorn accused as the Mad King lightly stroked the Viscount of the Candycorn's Segri scalp. My dear, you're reading into the matter, the Mad King said. This is purely a fictional or professional message between a king and his loyal subject. Now, I'll admit, Franklin here is quite a snag. I do love the way he murders those helpless trick-or-treaters, but you're my wife. So was Lyrica, Estrella, Henrietta, and many more. She couldn't remember them at the moment. Look what happened to them. Yes, well, Oswald left, Nothing is going to happen to you, dear. You're already dead. It's not about a cat. It did say it purred at the end. Alright, so let's do this. Boom. So let's go and open up the large candy bags so we can try to get some of the stuff down. If you click deposit resource here, it should be able to like automatically pick things that can be put inside of there. And you are relatively easily just being able to do this stuff. This is going to be the quickest way to take care of things. We do have a couple slots open, but if you click use all here. Now these are going to be essence of luck. There's going to be 2 different kinds. So there's going to be the green, gold, purple. There's like a whole bunch of just like different variations. So for this stuff, if you pop up your character here, you do need to open up quite a bit of them. See, so it looks like some of our luck ended because of our buffs, but basically you just like double click this dude and you automatically use it. Then you can consume all in the stack, and it's also going to slowly work towards your character. Toilet paper is not too valuable, so I mean honestly you can just like drop that, click use all. It's going to give you quite a bit of luck here, so this is why I'll say it. It's probably worth it more just to actually sit here and use it in your character, so you can just constantly just spam this stuff. So you can use that. Here's another one of the finishers that I was telling you guys about. If you just like double click it, it's going to come to this area, and it will show you like the random effects here. Once again, this is going to be in its own sort of thing. So once it's in that area, you don't even have to worry about it. So I mean, you can honestly just keep on clicking consume, use up all the luck, and it looks like we have 3 stacks of candy coins. We're good to go. So if you guys are curious on how to get to Lion's Arch for free, just click on this letter here, and instead of spending the gold to teleport up to the top of the labyrinth, you can just go straight into Lion's Arch, which we were going to do anyways to exit the area. Basically, you're not able to teleport outside of the area unless you go through Lion's Arch, so this is just the cheapest way. For some reason, that map's like on a whole different area than everything else, so you can't just like teleport to like Eye of the North, for example, which is where we need to go next for our Reed's storyline. You're just sort of like confined to like the one area. Very nice. I'm inside the town. Now we're able to teleport across. Now, hold on. Before I do this, if you guys are curious, if you run over inside the middle of town here, you should see a whole bunch of people like hanging around inside the Halloween looking areas. That's where you actually turn in the majority of your stuff. You'll see the map's going to be like this little darker color here. So as soon as you like walk towards it, you can actually start seeing like the regular stuff here. There's going to be some vendors over here on the left side. He's basically going to do this. Now the cobs are going to be useful because you can buy all this stuff around here. Obviously some stuff's going to be a lot cheaper. For example, this plush needs the plastic fangs and the gibbering skulls, so that's why we were sort of harvesting them earlier. If you click on each one of these, it'll tell you how many have. So right now we have 756 of that, 834 gibbering skulls, 771 bread, and the plastic fangs. So that's pretty much it for like what we can actually use with the stuff. Once you're done with the crypto, you can just click leave, boom, and now we teleport over to Eye of the North, and we'll continue our storyline. I think we got a decent amount of loot though. Basically every single day you can do that. Oh, actually we'll be able to show you guys like where the daily stuff is. That way if you are trying to like keep track of stuff, daily rewards are going to be pretty good. I even got like a candy corn cob from just like a daily reward, which is actually pretty awesome. Obviously it saves us a couple hours worth of farming, and you can use that for quite a bit of stuff inside the game. See, so once we load into the area, we'll search around for the candy corn cob just to see like how much it is currently. That way you guys can sort of get like a rough estimate of what it's actually worth. Because I mean, we're right around the corner from being able to buy a whole nother one. Let's see here, so let's do this. Let's see, game client, yeah, whatever. Skip out of that, boom. Story journal, you're able to do training builds, equipment. Exit out of here, and let's see here. One of these areas, I don't know. What? Should be under hero, right? And then story journal. Mastery essential materia. I am having a complete blank right now. For some reason, I think it was inside of here to actually find your daily stuff. Now you can find some of this stuff, information like around here though. Oh. Achievements, there we go, under achievements. Daily Halloween daily. So basically this is just going to be random things around here. You need to at least complete 3 of these guys, so they're going to be pretty basic. Basically you can pick and choose which ones you actually want to do. So we got defeat 20 Palawajoko's minions, eat 50 pieces of candy corn, which is I mean relatively easy. Win-win costume brawl on Halloween or Halloween Fright. Complete 3 of the... Okay, so that's basically just going to be like the main overall objective. Basically every single day, as long as you complete at least 3 of these things, you'll be pretty good. So getting 50 candy corn obviously isn't too bad. And probably setting madnesses. I have the costume brawl. Basically, if you get somebody who will actually like be willing to fight you, all you have to do is just like keep spamming the button, and as soon as you win the costume brawl, you're basically done with the event. It's not too bad at all, honestly. Let's see, so we'll come up Dragon and see what she has to say.
As bad as we were afraid things could get, they're worse.
Jormag's been tapping at the windows, so to speak, to get my attention.
What do they want?
Jormag loves to talk. I'm sure you've noticed. And I like talking to them. Maybe too much. Best not to answer.
I don't think Jormag's the ignore them and they'll go away type.
No, but easier to stay on guard with my champion beside me. All right. Let's see what they want.
Millennia with no one to talk to. I finally find a worthy interlocutor, and now you won't answer. You woo me, Ori. Surely you too crave more stimulating conversation than mortals can provide. Unless... Oh, dragon of crystalline light. Do I intimidate you?
I promise you, that's not it.
You want Oreen on your side. Why?
You face the least of what Primordis will bring. The death and destruction will make mortal wars seem as dreams. So Primordis has to die. And when he is dead, I will be free.
So is it his death you want, or your freedom?
Would you remain bound to a monster? Kralkatoric's fate suggests not.
He was in misery. It was a mercy.
Ah, he's why you fear yourself. Kralkatoric was unworthy of your pity or remorse. And so is my brother.
You know Primordis so well, why do you need the Asura's research?
There are impediments. We are two faces of a coin. We cannot truly see each other. Not directly.
This is between you and him. Fire and ice in opposition. Balance. A prism isn't relevant.
You really don't understand your potential. Your power.
I have the power to heal.
You break, you refract, you reshape. The beauty is the irrelevance. You are altogether new.
I decide my purpose, and it isn't to destroy.
You'd let the beast inflict wounds just so you can heal them?
Don't twist my words. I'm not a child. I will not be manipulated.
Well, even when you are determined to be contrary, Ori, it's lovely to speak with you.
Well, that's it? You'll take no for an answer?
I won't force her. That is not my way. I accept your answer. For now.
What do you...
Save it. They're gone. But in case you're wondering, they're not wrong.
I didn't ask your opinion.
Oreen, if there's no other option, will you act? Kill Primordis? Or Jormag if it comes to it?
I won't need to. There can be no balance if I get involved. Trust me, champion. There will be another way.
Read the urgent letter. Okay, so let's see here. Boom. I am Captain Ted, a Soren of...
Some destroyer activity near Ebonhawk. Who do we have there right now?
There must be an allied faction somewhere nearby. I'll see what I can muster.
And I'm in the fields of ruin, dealing with what's left of the renegades. I can lend support.
Ah, if I may. A heavily armed Char contingent approaching Ebonhawk with tensions being so high might be a bad idea.
You think tensions are so high they'd turn down help from their Char allies?
You're not just any Char, Krisha. You're an Imperator. And you'd be the first Imperator to set foot in that city.
Yeah, symbolism, fine. Do they want help saving their city or not?
Okay, Kaz, why don't you go to Ebonhawk first and soften the ground? Krisha, I'll meet you there.
Oh, how far we've come.
I'm Captain Tadas Soren of Ebon Vanguard. I pray this message finds you with due haste. Our scouts are reporting the increased destroyer activity all around Ebonhawk. I fear it's only a matter of time before the Dragon of Fire and Destruction sets its sight on us. I know you have been spearheading Tyrion's efforts to counter the ongoing Elder Dragon attacks. We fear Ebonhawk is next. Nice. Alright, so let's see here. Looks like we need to go do another strike. Travel to the fields of ruins to the eye of the north, the Sword Gate, defend it from the destroyers. So this is basically going to be, what, our fourth strike? Maybe third strike so far? Somewhere around there. Not entirely sure how many we've done, though. I'm pretty sure this is the fourth one. We're just going to do it as public, just in case we actually do get another group, because it seems like last time we were actually able to find, like, the same dude every single time. Which definitely worked out for us. Let's see here. So these missions are basically going to be designed or so towards a group in mind, but it is doable as a solo player.
Krisha's securing the postern gate, but it's only a matter of time now.
The destroyers are attacking already? Did you manage to call for reinforcements?
I did. I received word of a number of allied factions in the area.
Yeah, but will they get here in time is the question.
Gotta trust them. But right now, we need to rally the locals.
They don't want to fight? It's their city.
They're just nervous having a Char Imperator fighting from the inside out.
It's been 10 years since the treaty was signed. How is this still acceptable?
They're on our side, Commander. But this is new to them. They just need a little push.
Tough to prosper
Come
nowadays.
on, let's muster the troops.
Well, I was going to read that, but it looks like we weren't able to, so great, fix me up. No problem. Alright, so let's see here. So it looks like there's going to be a whole bunch of people we just basically need to say hello to. We are on a time limit here, which is why we sort of skip past that stuff. So civilians evacuated. I wonder where we're actually supposed to be evacuating stuff. Whole bunch of people that we're actually able to do here. Let's see, so we just like keep speaking to you. So these guys are going to be the ones that we actually need to convince. So let's see here.
I carry only the highest quality goods.
Yeah, shut up and join us. We're stuck speaking to you. There we go. Boom. Not entirely sure what the civilians are supposed to be evacuated to, but we're just going to try to do these exclamation marks. That way we at least finish one of them. Looks like we need to speak to at least 15 people here, so hold on. Yep. Let's move. Alright, so let's see. So we should be able to like save you. Not sure where these people are trying to like run off to. Civilians evacuated from Divinity's Reach. So I guess just like anywhere around here. We're go. Seems like after you've done speaking to people, it like lasts for a couple seconds later.
I hope you're talking some sense into these humans. Destroyer activity's on the rise over here.
Alright, so we got 6 people done. Boom. We are going to have like a gigantic armada following us. Let's see here. Do we need to hand it over? Wait, what now? Let's see, so what did you get that weapon to someone who needs it on the double. Okay, here, so we're just going to run around with this stuff, get some more civilians. Let's see here, there's going to be a whole lot of people following us. I'm guessing this is going to be for like the main troop force that we're trying to convince here. So come on, you people, let's do this. Boom. Get like everybody to follow us. Now, is this going to be considered exiting? So that is not the exit. We got 6 out of 15 people. Let's see here, so we'll just keep like speaking to these guys and hopefully we'll actually be able to do this. So we got 2 minutes. We have not killed basically any of the destroyers. Obviously we're by ourselves, so we're trying to like run through this as quick as possible. Should be able to get a lot of these people to follow though. So this dude's going to take an explosion in a second. Let's see, so we all get knocked down, we're fine. Obviously there's going to be a little bit of fire. We should be able to convince this one dude to join alongside us here. Let's see here, just work. There we go. Nice. Point. Let's go. So we're stuck in animation. There we go. So we got a whole bunch of people over here to the left side. So we're just going to follow this little bridge here. Wait for the burning explosion here. Hold on. So give it a second. Wait for the fire burst to go away. At least we didn't get knocked down on the ground that time. Get the civilian to follow us. Keep on moving up in the next area. So let's see here. All it says is evacuated to Divinity's Reach. So maybe we're supposed to be like on the inside of the city area. Oh, join me or die. Let's see here. We're stuck. There we go. We got 8 out of 15. So we are like slowly working towards this stuff. Just gonna have to take the fire damage here. Oh, is that the dude who wanted the weapon? Alright, well, we're running a little bit behind, so we're at least just trying to like convert this dude over to our side. So we'll try to save this person as quick as possible. Let's see, poison you. Yeah, you'll join us. Let's see, so we got a few more destroyers around in this area here. So we're just going to try to focus on like the civilian areas here. Convince as many people as possible. Let's see, so what are we at? We were at 8 out of 15. So it's definitely going to like slowly work towards our goal here. We still need to figure out a way to treat our buddy. So we got 25 seconds. Yeah, we were so behind in a lot of stuff. Maybe we should have been focused on fighting stuff. I figured the people thing would have been a little bit quicker. I was wrong. Let's see here. So we might fail with one objective. We haven't actually failed one so far, so I'm not entirely sure what's about to happen. Let's see, so we get everybody inside the area here. So we got a couple of fire stones. Well, those are for, I think those are just mostly trophy stuff, so we're not going to worry about it. Let's see.
The postern gate's fallen.
Successful.
Cass, where are those?
We can actually fail one of those, honestly.
Here, look. The dwarves made it. Looks like they brought that alchemical acid too. Let's get it on the field.
Alright, so we're picking up a couple extra people, clear the beta destroyers. That's something we can actually do. Sounds relatively simple. Boom, so let's see here. So we got all these people here. We got another soldier. We'll probably just pick up this one last dude, then we'll start heading towards the inside here. It looks like that's where the majority of the troops are going to be.
Be able to convince them I was here to help.
They weren't sure what to make of you. A lot of these people spent their lives trying to keep the Imperators out. Their actions speak louder than words. Much louder than decade-old pieces of paper.
I'm done squinting at trees. If they can't see what I'm trying to do with the char, they aren't paying attention.
They are paying attention. That's why they're fighting.
Alright, so we're going to do all this. Looks like she's not too happy, but we got a job to do, people, so focus. Let's see, do we have like inventory space? So we can get rid of like this rotten egg, for example. Just grab the large claw. So you can actually sit here and deposit the resource, and then it just goes inside of there like a shoe. Seems like sometimes it'll actually pull the resource and automatically deposit it inside of your own like little inventory bag there, and sometimes it won't. I'm not entirely sure why sometimes it just immediately goes to putting it away perfectly for us. Because obviously if, you know, if we're maxed out on stuff and it goes inside the main resource area, it's not too bad to actually manage. Looks like a few of the vanguard soldiers and archers are about to die here in front of us because we're not able to kill these guys quick enough. So one dude's dead and the other one basically has no health at all. So let's see, we're trying to save them, but yeah. And the good news is they're down. So, oh, did he actually pick his buddy up? So we were able to use the lifesteal ability and at least grant him a little bit extra health to where this dude's able to survive. I completely forgot that we're able to heal people, so that definitely helped out him a little bit. Let's see here. So it looks like the one guy's up, the other one, I don't know. He's still dead. It's just another person came over to us. Okay, we're good. Let's see here. Well, while that dude's fighting him, it looks like he's going to be mostly trying to do majority of the damage. So we'll pick this dude up. There is an archer around here. All right, so we're not able to. Let's see here. So we'll just focus on the destroyers, trying to get everything cleared out. We don't necessarily need to pick up the AI. I don't think it helps too much, but hopefully they can actually like figure something out. So this town's going to be completely destroyed by these guys. So we need to do. Looks like we just killed invading, so we don't actually have like it's actually in the area here. I haven't actually seen any of the Char soldiers that they keep like sitting here and putting on the radio acting like they're like some huge terrible disaster happening. So let's see, we're going to steal all the life force from everybody. Boom. Yeah, so in the first game, basically the Char were only trying to like kill us and they weren't actually part of like the friendly allied troops here. So that's another reason why a lot of people are like, oh, there's Char, that's horrible. That's why they have like a bad reputation technically inside this world here. If you're trying to like get caught up in why it seems like a lot of people, humans don't like them specifically. Basically everything else was sort of like relatively calm and peaceful towards humans except for the Char. and obviously all this other stuff. But the Char were mostly the most intelligent race that was still trying to kill us instead of helping. So the rest of the world sort of turned their backs on them, basically. Let's put a quick, short version on what actually happened. Let's see here. So the flying ones, I think, have a little bit extra health than like the melter. So we're just going to take out the melter first and then work on the next one. So he does do a little bit of a burning effect, and as long as we don't have too many of these effects down here, we should be good. Now I am noticing we're starting to see more dwarfs in this area. Seems like we haven't seen too many dwarfs at all inside of this game. We were sort of talking about that last time. It seems like they sort of removed the dwarf faction from the entire game itself. Let's see here, so we'll borrow some health from you, buddy. Kick down that ability since we took too much damage, but we're good to go. Let's see here. Basically, if you use up all of your dark energy, you're no longer able to stay in that ghost form. It's really nice to have as like a backup in case you take too much damage there, because you're able just to like automatically stay alive. Looks like we're getting plenty of clothes and everything from inside this area here, so that should be good for crafting stuff. A lot of the items that we're actually gathering is more for late game stuff, since obviously we're a higher level character. So a lot of it is going to, if you actually like look at it, tell you like what recipes it's like generally used for. So most of them are going to be used for like stuff that's like level 100 or something. So hold on, like just like hover over the claw, for example. What were you? So let's see here. Yeah, so it looks like majority of the claw usage is going to be for level 325. Looks like there's a couple scribe stuff for a little bit lower, but most of it's going to be for higher level stuff. So we'll just deposit that like I said. The essence of luck, since that's just going to be a permanent buff here. Now you are able to eat like some food and stuff like that to actually like slowly work towards actually getting like a higher luck temporarily. But if you pop those essence of luck, it's going to be a permanent boost, so it's not just going to be like a temporary. Alright, so let's see here. So we should be able to steal some life force from around here like I said. Nice. Let's see here. Do this. Boom. Yeah, destroy noise. Looks like we're about halfway done with this area, so we got a few more short fiends around here. Oh, we haven't necessarily been focusing on the flyers too much, but I'm wondering if we should like try to kill this dude first. Let's see, so it looks like the dwarf's somewhat in the area. He doesn't necessarily want to fight yet, so we're going to try to like back away and entice him to do his job. There we go. Nice. Yeah, so sort of like how we were talking about earlier, it is kind of interesting to do one of these strikes by yourself. Obviously, most of the stuff in this game is designed for one person. It's just, it's a lot easier if you have like a group to like do some of these side objectives here. So it does treat you relatively nice if you are by yourself. It's sort of like a, not necessity to have multiple people, but it's just sort of like a nice little bonus to be able to get a little extra objectives completed. Seems like strikes are kind of bugged right now to where you don't actually have to do like any of the main objectives for it to still count. So obviously, as you guys saw earlier, we filled all 3 of the main objectives and it still said we did great, even though we didn't do anything at all. See, so we're going to intimidate that dude. Obviously, our fear thing doesn't actually make people run too far. It just basically makes them turn around in front of us. That way we're able to kill him like so. Let's see here. Now, while we're in this ghost phase, obviously we have like different fear settings than some people. If we were in like the lich form or in a little bit of like our main abilities that we're able to customize on our character, we can have them so people run as far away as possible. Obviously, our fear doesn't make them run near as far. Basically, it just makes them turn around back to us. But that is the thing. So basically, he sort of freaks out for a little bit. It's not like it's too big of an intimidating thing, but I think it's mostly just there to allow you to like slowly get your health back. So let's just spawn in a few more things down below these guys. We should be good to go. Swap to the lich form here. Let's see here. Come on, buddy. Nice. There we go. A couple daggers on people. Looks like we're about... We're still holding these guys. I thought we were about to be close to it. That looks like it's a lot less than the actual map itself. Obviously, some of them are going to be a little bit smaller enemies, so it's not like too big of a deal. Now, this dude has a pretty big intimidating fear factor too on it. I think that's going to be mostly your 5th ability, if I remember correctly. Alright, so let's see here. Spawning a few things down below. 700 health, so let's go and pop this. We have a really good chance of survival of this character, though. Basically, the fact that we're just able to leech health off of everything. Now, there is one thing that we are going to be a little bit worried about. So, I have noticed in these strikes, it seems like doing like a whole bunch of these like little side objectives isn't like the hardest part. The hardest part is going to be to take on the boss here. So it might be like a 20 to 30 minute fight by yourself. We're about to find out. Obviously, we've done it before in the past by ourselves, so it's not like too big of a deal. But it's definitely going to slow down the progression just a little bit. Let's get that dude dead. Nice. Yeah, we should be back to 7 Days to Die later today. We'll probably be playing modded with quite a few people. Seeing what all adventures we can actually get around. Do this, boom. Nice, there we go. Alright, search all that stuff. So a few more guys just straight ahead from us. So straight, let's just harvest these guys up. Let's see, Sad Dwarf. I'm noticing the AI in this game, sometimes it's like very smart, will actually like try to defend itself. Sometimes it's just like bugged out, will just like stand there until it takes enough damage and then it'll start doing something. I'm noticing it a little bit more in like these later game sort of mission styles. Like earlier on it didn't seem to do it near as much, but like that dwarf doesn't seem to be moving at all compared to the one earlier that we saw. Same with like this archer. Both of them seem to be relatively passive. So I don't know, maybe it's like a certain area box or something that it's just not able to like recognize there's an enemy near it, or what's actually causing that issue. So we're getting quite a bit of large claws, a whole bunch of uncommon or unidentified gear. Basically it's going to be a little rare item, and we got like 200 something, so eventually we are going to need to actually open that stuff up and start like selling random things. We should be able to get quite a bit of gold from it though. Here, so boom, spawning a whole bunch of effects on the ground here, like I said. Nice. Now, some of the daily events on like the Halloween stuff actually aren't too bad. So if you have the ones that are like for the PvP stuff, honestly, if you just click on there, I've noticed like my games are normally joining like a second for some reason, and it seems like all you have to be in there is for at least a couple seconds and it'll actually work for you. So we're gonna fight for survival. Thankfully, we had enough stuff to actually drain the life force. Couple seconds, we're able to swap to this bigger form here and take some extra life from everybody else. Let's see here, we don't want to rush in there and cause too many of them to start chasing us. Obviously, we did die once for the first time, so let's try to like take out these little dudes first, maybe. So the bursters ran away, so we're just going to focus on the soldier then. Let's see here, come on, buddy. Turn around for a couple seconds. So we got that dude. How much? Oh, is that dude basically dead? Hold on, if he's basically dead, we'll kill the fiend first. There we go. Nice. Alright, so place all the effects down on the ground here. So we got 5 seconds before we're able to use our main ability there. So we're sort of stuck waiting on some stuff. Bursters obviously are going to be a little bit of a thing. The soldiers are basically able to spawn in a whole bunch of extra troops here. But since we got like the main flying dude taken out, I don't think we actually have to worry too much about majority of the stuff. Obviously, Reapers or Destroyers, sorry, are able to do a whole bunch of like random fire effects, and that's definitely going to make us take a whole lot more damage than normal. But other than that, it's not too bad. Basically, these guys are like the main generals of this faction, and they're able to like try to force us to like fight them off just a little bit. Alright, so that dude's dead. We got a whole bunch of like little bursters on the ground here. We're just going to pick on these little dudes real quick before we actually start the next group here. So let's just do this. Thankfully, they don't have too much health. It's just that they cause a whole lot of effects here, so that's why it's definitely going to take those guys out before we go too far. Looks like we were stuck with like 3 enemies remaining, and I'm kind of curious to see what the actual boss is. Alright, so let's make sure we stay outside of the fire zone. Boom! Spawn as much effects as possible. Now we are probably going to have quite a longer boss fight, so just keep that in mind while we're doing this. Let's see here, so we should be able to chunk this dude's health away like so. Nice! It succeeded.
The stronghold.
Okay, defeat the destroyer of the 3rd fortress at the Hawkheart. Alright, so we just need to run inside of here. Boom. Alright, so it looks like our job is just going to be to focus on this big gigantic dude over here. See here, spawn as much things as possible. Seems like the char aren't actually in the area to help, which is kind of weird. So we need to figure out a way to make this dude's ability actually end, because right now we're not even damaging him at all, so we're going to just focus on these little bursters. Is he actually fighting? Is he fighting the bursters? So that's just a human, right? Oh, there's an actual char there, okay. I want to say, I'm so confused what's actually happening there. So he's supposed to do something to where his ability can actually start taking damage. I'm assuming he does like a whole bunch of effects or something, then he's on like cooldown and then he like freezes himself maybe? I don't... Has to be something around here. Let's see, so we are going to try to keep an eye on him just in case this like main shield area disappears here, so he's going to pull us back. Something has to happen though so we can actually start damaging him, because until this is actually broken, we're literally just not able to do a single thing. So we're just going to try to like free up a whole bunch of our other people around here and hope that maybe one of their abilities is actually able to like get around that. So all those bugs popped.
Come on, everyone! You want your city to fall to some overgrown bug?
See, are we? So we're still not able to do anything. So he's got massive blast. I don't know, his health. Am I thing bugged out? Because I can see his health dropping like in this area, but it's... Hold on. See, if we swap to you... Just trying to like watch this area. I'm pretty sure this is going down, right? Maybe we are doing damage and it's just he has like a really strong shield. So I didn't think we were able to hurt this guy until the actual main like shield areas actually just started to break. So here, so let's do this. It definitely seems to be like slowly chunking away, so we are good. It's just this dude has a whole bunch of armor. I was mistaken, sorry about that. Alright, well nice. We don't have to like wait for him to do something like crazy move to actually do stuff. We should be good to go then. So obviously we already saved Casimir, we saved the Char, so everybody's able to focus on the boss. Once you pretty much clear out the area, it's not going to be too hard to like clear out the living ends around here, so let's just hop over the fire. Seems like this dude's not too bad to actually like dodge all his attacks. Obviously he's got like that little fire attack. As long as you just hop over the little ledge while he's doing it, you should be good. I'm surprised like none of the actual like humans and stuff like that are actually helping. It seems like the destroyers pretty much are staying relatively calm too. See, so we forgot to jump there, but we're good to go. Pop both of these bursters real quick because it seems like they're not too bad to kill. Don't want to stay inside the aggro range, but let's see here. So let's do something like that. Bursters seem to be about 4 hits before we're actually able to kill these guys, so we're just going to focus on these guys real quick. Make sure everybody's dead, that way we can have everybody focus on like the main area. Make sure we hop over that fire pit, because I mean honestly it's not too bad to dodge a lot of this dude's attacks. He's got a whole lot of health, so it's going to definitely take like a few minutes to actually kill this dude, but I don't think he's actually going to be able to kill us. It seems like his attacks are like relatively calm. Unless he like completely changes the way he attacks, it's not going to be harder. Let's see here. Man, we missed that jump. Obviously, you know, errors can happen, which might make it a little bit harder, but it doesn't seem like he's doing like too many crazy things to actually still. Especially with the Necromancer's lifesteal ability, basically, regardless of what this dude's doing, we're able to steal out about as much damage as we actually take relatively quickly, so it's not like we're actually in danger of dying. It's just going to take a little bit. See, so it looks like a lot of our allies are starting to take some damage. You want to try to hop over that fire that we don't get the burning effect on us. See, we could try to swap into the Lich form and see if maybe we do a little bit more damage here. So here, so siphon health from nearby enemies over time. So let's do this bad boy. Yeah, so this is going to be our biggest fear generator. Basically, you can pick and choose how far he actually gets intimidated. Some enemies will actually get intimidated, while some will just sit there and stand and just sort of stare at you like, really? That's the best you got? Let's see here. Do as much effects as on the ground as possible. We should be good to go. So, I mean, we already got him down in what? About a quarter so far? Maybe an eighth? Maybe a little bit less than a quarter. We're getting close to a quarter, though. Not too hard of a fight, honestly. So he disappeared, spawns in an area. I mean, obviously we take a few burn damage and stuff, but we can honestly just like heal ourselves like that. It's no big at all. I'm assuming the green area there was take the least damage possible. It didn't seem like it hurt us too bad, and so I'm assuming that's what they were actually hinting at. I'm not entirely sure, because the entire ground that looked like below us actually was on fire too. Alright, so we'll just jump over that pile there. There we go. Doing some damage. Obviously it's going to take a few minutes here, so let's do this. Now, I mean, technically, if you are doing this like complete properly, you could probably have like a whole bunch of like random food items that actually do like a little bit more like damage boost to speed up your process or anything. We don't necessarily have anything to fight like main guys. It's just mostly Halloween people. Over that, like a zero, boom. I definitely say these are definitely manageable by yourself. Obviously, they just more of like a time-wise thing. It's not like we're being like completely swarmed where a solo person couldn't actually do this. As a group, it would definitely just be a little bit faster. And I'm pretty sure they'd probably scale the enemies based on the amount of people in the area. I don't think the boss's health changes though. So let's do this. Boom. So when Archer dead, I guess we'll pick these guys up. They don't seem to do too much though, is the problem. Let's see, are we going to be able to... Yeah, we're good. So he's going to do a whole bunch of attacks on us. We still seem to be 21,000 health, so we're not too worried about it. This dude looks like he's going to take majority of the hits for us. Now our life steal should kick in here in a second. Yeah, see how our health sort of like chunks down, but then we like slowly start getting it back up. So they're doing 563 damage to us while we're healing ourselves 200 every second. So, I mean, obviously it's not like fully healing us all the way, but that's a pretty decent chunk of it, honestly. So we dropped down to 12,000 health, but good news is we got a whole bunch of things that we can actually draw the life from, and all of our dark energies are already all the way recharged. So now we can just come back in here, boom, and you can like literally watch the health just like chunk all the way back. It's really cool how this character actually handles everything. Alright, so jump over the fire like a servo. Nice. Much effects on this dude as possible. Let's see here. So we should be able to do all this stuff. Nice. So basically this teleports us to like an enemy, and it does do a little bit of damage too. So we just like sort of just like constantly bump into him every single time we mark him like a servo. Let's see here. Jump over that. Absorb some of you. So what does this do? Sends out a call. If it hits a foe, inflicts bleeding and chill on nearby foes, you may cast Dark Pursuit to Shadow Step to its initial target. Then you can see like the bleed damage over time and everything. So it looks like it's actually going to do quite a bit. So be able to do that, teleport over to you and just do like a little bit extra bonus damage. Up over you like a servo. I mean, theoretically, we should be able to keep a lot of the stats on this dude and like slowly just like work our way towards getting him all the way dead. It's the first time we actually read the stuff. We normally just like click on the buttons and everything. Come on, buddy, you know it's time to die. So we're close to the halfway mark, so we're doing pretty good. It hasn't really been that long, honestly. Over you like a servo. Let's see what we got. Alright, so hold on. So we need to make sure this guy's dead. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of fire bursts all over the place. Let's see, so we'll hop over those two. This dude teleport over to the other side because he's a little bit of a coward. Alright, so I'm guessing that you need to stand in like this little green circle here or else you die possibly in this area. So it definitely seems like that's like the safest place to stand. Alright, so hold on. So let's come down around over here and place a few effects down on the ground below this dude. We should be good to go. So let's see here. As long as we can actually manage this dude, shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, so I don't know. We might try out a couple different MMOs on the channel eventually. We're definitely going to mostly focus on this one. We might try that Elion game out. Potentially, depending on how much it is when it comes out. And we might eventually try a new road out. Just sort of waiting to see how they actually handle the microtransactions. Because I feel like that game is more going to be geared towards like very heavy monetization. I could be wrong, but I kind of want to wait till like January or February or so to actually see like what they actually do to it. But by the time in February comes, this game will have a new DLC out, so we'll probably be checking that one out for a while. So let's do this, boom. But yeah, once the new DLC for this game comes out, we'll definitely actually try it when it first comes out. Because we actually are doing pretty decent now, especially with this character. We might try to do like a whole brand new character and actually go through like the entire storyline. This guy, we sort of like skipped all the way to like the end game content because I figured it's probably more entertaining to watch some like the newer stuff now. Obviously, new is sort of a relative term since the last update came out in like 2017 for the last expansion pack. So we're a little bit behind people, but now we're at least caught up to where we actually have like a lot of the end game stuff finished. That way, when the next map pack comes out, it's not like we're completely behind everybody. do that. Boom, teleport to you. Do as much bleeding effect as possible. Or the fire. Nice, there we go. Let's see here. So some of the effects actually like bring all the enemies towards us, which is kind of a nice ability too. Let's see here. So we want to try to constantly like curse this dude as much as possible. Teleport over to him. Make sure we're out of vision for like his main attack here. Borrow as much health as possible. Got him down to about half health. Real decent. Alright, so he's going to slam on the ground, jump over that like a sail. Seems like as long as you keep him chilled and do a lot of like these bleeding effects, it should be relatively easy to kill this dude. See here, now I'm not entirely sure if you were on a different character class if it would be this easy to do some of the strikes and other missions solo. Obviously the fact that we're able to go into like this ghost form and instead of dying be able to sort of like stay in an extra life chance is going to help us out tremendously doing like solo gameplay. So if you were playing this by yourself quite frequently, this class is probably one that you would definitely be worth checking out. Some of the other classes I'm sure have higher DPS and stuff, but the fact that we're able to sort of have like our own second life without having to like fully restart an entire area from like checkpoint over again definitely gives this class a lot bigger advantage over others in my opinion. So he's going to be doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff, so basically we just need to watch out for the sidesman attacks. Or we get knocked down by every single one. Either way it works. And he's going to be doing his crazy thing to where we need to run over to this area. See how it like slowly moves in? So I think it's just hinting at you need to try to like stand in this green circle here. So I mean, it honestly, I haven't seen our health chunk down whenever we do that, and it seems like that's what they're trying to hint at. Entirely sure though. So I mean, the whole ground underneath us looks like it gets affected, but it doesn't actually do anything. But I'm assuming the way it like sounds and everything, normally games like that use that sort of sound to be like, oh, if you don't get in this area, you're gonna instantly die. Which definitely would not want to be something we want to try out. So that's why we're just going to stick to the green areas, because that seems to be the safest place for us. So once we get knocked down, since we just stood there, boom, trying to life steal, so we're a little bit less than half health now. So I mean, we are slowly chunking away this dude's health. He's got a whole bunch of effects that he's able to do here. So bam, teleport over to you. It'd be kind of interesting to see like if the chilled effect did more damage to a creature that had like fire, for example. Because theoretically it should like slowly put out his flame, you would think. Obviously he's a little bit more like magma and a little bit less like traditional fire, so that might be why he's able just to sort of roll with it. Let's see here, so if we do this, boom. Same with like the poison effects on this game, that would be kind of cool if like if you were a Necromancer and you had like some sort of natural resistance to some poisons. Come on buddy, it's time for you to die. Alright, so let's do this. Teleport over to you, do as much damage as possible. He's going to be running away like a little bit of a coward. I've seen that. Alright, so we got him down to the O already. So he's almost dead. Nice. He's got about a quarter of health. We're doing pretty good. So let's see here. Teleport across. I'm assuming he's going to do one more of those teleport into the area and like slam down on the ground to try to kill us sort of moves before he actually dies. Let's see here. So come on, buddy. Do a little bit more damage, and I'm guessing we're going to meet with Irene after this mission, sort of like last time. We haven't actually been fighting like any of the main dragons yet, so I'm wondering if that's going to be the next DLC, and that's why they were sort of like, dude, be willing to do this eventually, sort of thing. Let's see here, so a whole bunch of people took some damage around here. Looks like we got an archer. Oh, never mind, that's just Mirage. We're good. Alright, so he's going to do his thing. You want to try to hop over. We got one jumped over at least. Looks like the rest of them knocked us down on the ground. He's going to do his little slam attack, so I'm assuming probably right over here is where the green circle is going to be. Doubt it. Seems like every single time this memorial plaque's like the main thing here. Alright, so what are you? For the men who lived to guard us, they stood defiant atop the wall. Statue's a little bit too tall to see. Is that supposed to be a dwarf? I don't know. I see a person. Okay, cool. We didn't actually look at the statue. We've just been finding the whole time, so that's why I was kind of curious. You know, it's kind of protected by this little wall here, so I'm wondering if we could just like slowly pick this dude up and not actually take damage here. I don't think the AI is necessarily too important to keep up, but I feel like it just like slowly adds enough damage over time to where we should be fine. So we're going to get knocked into our spirit form here, then we should be able to life steal away. You know, live. See, a couple seconds should be good to go. Nice. There we go. So we don't want to take too much damage around here, but as long as we just like dodge that 3 seconds, we should be able to swap into like our main form, be able to heal all up again. So boom. Then with extra damage, thankfully. Look how quick the life steal definitely grants on this character though. It's like super cool how everything actually works. Okay, so we'll be able to do this. We're going to use our main teleport ability on the main guy here. Boom. Got him chilled down. It's kind of cool that they actually have like this whole like blue effect on their back whenever they get chilled. Right, so let's teleport across. Boom. This character is definitely a little bit OP if you're by yourself though. Yeah, so they didn't have too many like actual main like healers inside the game that I saw. It looks like they, for the most part, removed it, and it's just like the Necromancer that seems to be able to group heal. I'm not sure if there's like another character that they might be introducing like later on to heal. There was the one Revenant character that I haven't actually seen too many people actually use, so maybe that one's like the main healer. That was the newest class that they added though. So I'm not sure, maybe in this next DLC maybe they'll add like a whole another class or not. I haven't done too much research into it, so most of the stuff will actually be more to us. So let's do teleport across. Nice. I mean, this dude's slowly dying. We definitely got this. It's going to be too bad. Sweet. So far, we've only been down once this whole time. It was only for a temporary thing, and we were still able to like pick ourselves up by ourselves, so we didn't even get the AI for that. Alright, so let's teleport out that area. We're good to go. Spawn as much negative effects on this dude as possible. We should be able to handle this. We got this. Come on, buddy. Let's see here. Now to the S. His armor still seems to be breaking down. Notice how it went from like a very hard shield to just like this blue area. Basically, we pretty much destroyed a majority of his main hard shell, which is why he's taking so much more damage now than he was beforehand. Especially once his blue shield ends, he's going to take any more damage than that. But he should be dying here in a second. Alright, come on, buddy. Let's see here. Couple more effects on the ground. He should be falling over. Obviously, boss has a lot of health, so even though it looks like he has no health, he probably still has like another 1,000 health or something. There we go. Maybe a little bit more than 1,000, because it looks like we did a lot more damage there. Sweet!
Looks like they're retreating from...
And we got a lot more daily missions completed.
The stronghold stands, at least for another day.
Yeah. They're lucky we were all nearby. Or this would have gotten out of hand real quick.
These people trust you, Krisha. You saw how they fought by your side.
You helped. But the Treaty of Ebonhawk's 10 years old. It's time we moved past it.
Moved past it how?
Anyone can tear up a piece of paper, throw the world into disarray. We either trust each other, or we don't.
I think today was a step in the right direction.
There's more to be done. But I think you're right. Thanks, Kaz. Commander.
Okay, so it looks like there is another storage box. I was about to say, isn't there like a big one? Alright, nice. We got liquid karma. We're not able to grab that, even though we could actually drink that immediately. So let's see here. Is there anything that we can actually like toss out? Obviously, some inventory situations. We're just going to get around. Spider legs, do you? Pop that to grab the medallion, because that's going to be super useful, because we can actually slap that on our armor set. Cotton scraps. Would you actually know? You won't deposit. Of course you won't. So let's see here. So we just need to toss out one more thing. We got like a whole bunch of this like blood dust, so obviously there's some resources that we just have so much stuff of that we're not actually able to get rid of. Let's see here, so we're able to open you, get some leather scraps, grab you, more resources, deposit ya like I said. Speak to these two people real quick, see if they got anything useful to say. Those poor people. Ebonhawk has been through so much. They'll repair the damage, they always do. Are you worried about Ebonhawk would react to Krisha? I've been working with Krisha after all the Drizzlewood.
Yes, quite a bit. She's been working to clear up the rest of the renegades in Vangar's dominion. I spent a lot of time with the Char in Drizzlewood, so Krisha asked if I could help finish what we started. It's important for human-Char relations that we very publicly, very loudly go after these groups. You saw today what kind of effect that can have. It's the difference between peace and war. It's worth it.
What's about you? I trust you now. What are we doing in the Fields of Ruin? The United Age is still united. Was Mia Kindleshot as Iron's new Imperator?
Sure. But if every Char needs to personally save this city before they can be trusted, we're in trouble. I know this was different. I'm an Imperator, that's a big step. But we can't be like this. We need to be better. If the Black Citadel was attacked and we called in the Ebon Vanguard, would they respond like I did today? I hope so. That's the only way this is going to work.
Yeah, then we don't really say anything to you, useful, so we're just going to go through the portal here. Boom! Speak to Irene. It's nice that it takes you directly back to the island, or so you don't have to like worry about too many things. Let's see here, so we're going to load in, see what we actually can get done.
Commander, anyone on the rotation who could head to Thunderhead Keep?
I'm not too far away. What's up?
Sudden infestation of destroyers, apparently. I think a bit of help is in order.
I can meet you there, Bram.
Great. Look for Miran Skjelken, formerly Priory, now a member of the Bloom. They'll have a better idea of the situation.
Alright guys, well that's going to be it for now. I'll see you guys in a couple hours for 7 Days to Die. If you guys enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe.